last week on Gleeboot, Rachel became a loser. Like, I'm not a loser, like somebody me. And she was fired from her terrible sitcom that was apparently filmed live, but Jim Rash is gonna come back from it. She went back to Lima, find out Blurt is over, and Kurt is upset that Blaine is moved on with someone who used to threaten to murder him. And Rachel is taking over the Glee Club from Sue Sylvester, who is caning people still. And Rachel ended the episode by singing a snoozer of a cover of Let It Go. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Yeah, that happened. Yep. Although I have to say, I think it was probably a better season opener than season 5. Season 5's opener was such a snooze. And
love,
this at least
Mm-hmm.
had like multiple storylines going in somewhat interesting directions.
Yeah, it was setting
new
up
directions, if you will.
New directions. It's setting up a season of television, which is literally what a first episode of a season is supposed to do.
Yes.
But like, it did it
not just like finished storylines from the previous season. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though, I completely forgot that last week was the opening of this season.
Right?
Like I feel like I've been in this season indefinitely already.
I felt the same way. I was like, this is like episode 5, right? And I'm like,
yeah,
no, it's episode 2.
Surprise!
Yeah. Gleeboot. Welcome back to Gleeboot, the show where we get drunk and talk about rebooting Glee one episode at a time. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
And I'm Hannah.
And today we have a special, fan favorite guest, a Gleeboot correspondent, someone who is, coming home right now, to their home being Gleeboot. In this homecoming episode, we have Elissa.
Hey! So glad to be back. Honored. The only word.
I'm glad that we could honor you to bring you back. How's it been since the last time you were on this podcast? I mean, when was it? What was happening in Glee? Do you remember?
It was the comeback episode. I remember it because I talk about it quite a bit. I'm actually surprised how often Glee comes up like in regular conversations.
Yeah,
and I get to be like,
scary, right?
It's a little weird and I don't love it. But famously around like season 2, episode 13 was the one that I did. That was like where I stopped watching Glee, was pretty much at that mark. So I am honored to be here, but I did suffer immensely doing season 6. It was difficult for me.
Yeah, but you watched the recaps. You watched a recap on YouTube, so you were caught up.
Okay.
Big shout out to Mike Smike for his Glee recaps.
Oh, of course. That man
Unhinged
saved my life because he did the Pretty Little Liars recaps, so I did not have to watch all of Pretty Little Liars. But he also has not responded to our Instagram DM, so...
Yeah, but you know what? It's fine. Like,
he's like a busy influencer, but like if you do want to still come on,
I mean, you technically gave us a shout out.
Yeah.
So
he did say Gleeboot in the video. Yeah. So also I think it's fitting we have Elissa coming back because this episode is a very important part of Glee's impact on society. In that this is where the events of that eventually led to Lea Michelle's temporary downfall.
Temporary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's kind of recovering.
She's kind of recovering, and this is, someone said, because people took the joke of Lea Michele can't read so far and eclipsed like her being a racist bully, that now like she's on TikTok now, and like she did one that was like copying there's that guy who does all the TikToks as like Rachel Berry at the Super Bowl kind of thing. She did that, and then her next TikTok was her like the caption was calling Jonathan Groff to read the TikTok comments for me.
Oh, she's like in on it.
She's like in on it now.
Interesting.
It's not funny anymore.
Which, like, here's the thing. If I were her, yeah, that's the move to make. Like, show you can take a joke. Because her earlier response was, this wouldn't happen if I was a man. So, like, this is making more sense. But her response to people, but like, hey, you called people cockroaches and threatened to shit in their wigs, was like, I'm a perfectionist. And I was under a lot of pressure. Which, yes, that could have been the psychology behind it, but Maybe not. It doesn't explain away. It's not an apology.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
guys see her recent controversy with Funny Girl, where her outfit is like much shorter and tighter than they gave one Miss Beanie?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And of course it's sleeveless. Beanie was wearing like a shawl version, you know.
It's giving Glee costume department and how they would dress like Mercedes and Unique.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Lauren,
it.
Yeah. Which we'll talk about Glee and fatness and curviness and different body types today. Glee really loves this topic. It loves to always do it wrong, but to keep coming back to it and doing it wrong again.
Correct.
If at first you don't succeed, try it again, but barely change your technique.
Yep.
That's
And,
Glee.
if at first you don't succeed again.
Don't
Yep,
succeed.
that's exactly how
And
it
again.
goes.
Yeah. But yeah, we meet Samantha Ware's character, who is the Gwyneth Paltrow to Leah Michelle's Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Connection. I get it.
You get it.
It's a jump, but
I will also go on record as saying Harvey Weinstein is a considerably much worse person than Leah Michelle. I'm not conflating those two very different problems of like being someone who's mean and difficult to work with and being like a rapist, assaulter, abuser, like very different things.
I think weirdly though, I kind of felt like reflections of potentially Leah Michelle treating this woman this way on set based on the story where like Rachel has to teach her how to do things, and like she can do things, you know. She doesn't need to be helped by a white girl.
I think they were trying to be like, we'll talk about it when we get to the scene, that like she's a teacher, she's being a teacher.
Sure,
but it's also such a twist. Like this is out of left field for the Rachel Berry we know.
Yeah,
we'll get there. So the things we've already done, like all of Alyssa's like Glee boyfriend and all that, right?
I remain committed to Blaine Anderson, but only because I love Darren Criss because of a Harry Potter musical, and I remain steadfastly Rachel Berry coded.
All right. I mean,
it is what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
I almost ruined the family kickball game today at my sister's birthday party because I had to win, and you know what? I did win, so all was right.
Very Rachel energy.
It is Rachel, yeah. Now here's a question. What are you drinking?
I have recently developed a crippling addiction to sparkling water. I'm the kind of person who I go through a phase, and the phase lasts like 2 weeks, but it is intense, it is passionate, and it's currently sparkling water and RuPaul's Drag Race. Those are the only two things I can think about. So it was very difficult to make space for Glee, but here we are. So I have a blackberry lemonade sparkling water tonight.
That's a good flavor. They had those at work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ASMR.
Nice.
I'm drinking a BrewDog Elvis juice. It is a grapefruit infused IPA. It's part of
Elvis juice.
Yeah. Okay. It is part
Elvis
of an amalgamation.
known for his grapefruit?
He's known for
irrelevant.
Many terrible things and music. But this is part of an assortment of alcohol left over from my family's visit and trip to Joshua Tree. That family loves to drink, that portion of the family. So I have a ton of random forms of beer and some hard seltzers and stuff in my closet. No, fridge. The cold closet, the closet that's cold, the Elsa closet.
The food closet.
Yeah.
The perishable food closet.
No, that's a pantry. The
perishable food closet. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I am drinking again the Francis Ford Coppola Claret Black Label Cabernet Sauvignon.
That's mid-shelf.
Yeah. I mean, but I've tried probably like 4 or 5 different wines from his wine company.
Yes, you have.
And they're all very good. Even like the sweeter ones. So I would recommend this one. Is by like $13-14, but like he's got a red blend that's really good, and it's like 10 or 11. So would recommend.
We've all seen you kind of go on this Francis Ford Coppola wine journey.
Here's the thing.
The seasons.
I don't like The Godfather. I don't think it's a good movie. Can't name anything else that man has done either, besides make wine and Sophia Coppola. Yes.
Who made Marie Antoinette with Kirsten Dunst.
Exactly. So it's a great wine. Would check it out.
Yeah, don't tell Scott. I never watched The Godfather. I think I was supposed to, but I just didn't.
I only watched parts of it because I was like, I've seen this movie a couple times. I watched parts of it in grad school. That was it. Sorry, teachers.
I am currently about to open this little bottle of Keegan sake. And it's very interestingly packaged, and it's like in a little glass bottle that almost looks like the shape of a beer can, but slightly smaller. And it's got like a wide mouth, and the whole top just comes off. Very interesting. I've never seen anything packaged like this before, but it is, I think, like maybe more prevalent in Japanese packaging because it has actually like hiragana and katakana on the lid. So
I was at a birthday party where I drank 2 bottles of soju and became very hungover the next day, but I did a lot of karaoke before that, including Defying Gravity twice.
Soju
it's strong.
Yeah.
It's good.
They don't make
though.
you sing Defying Gravity.
Twice. I was Glinda. I was Glinda though. I wasn't the main star, but I sang many songs. But this karaoke place, Hi Suki's Tale, did not have This Is Me from Camp Rock, which I was ready to bust out my Demi Lovato knees. And then it also did not have anything from Glee, because I was at, if followers of Instagram will know that a few months ago, I was at a birthday party and we were looking through the book, and they had a section of Glee songs you could do karaoke to, like some of the mashups, Forget You, Gwyneth Paltrow version, like, and I was like, oh my gosh, imagine doing that. And so I was like, okay, I'm in a private like karaoke thing, maybe we'll do it. They didn't have any Glee.
Wow.
So I propose we embargo Korea. No.
I honestly, I think it's probably for the best for the culture of the world.
For the culture of the world. All right.
I just want to say this is surprisingly good sake because I wasn't expecting it to be good, but it is.
Very nice.
Also, Elissa, how do you feel about Sailor Moon?
I have not seen it.
Oh,
wait.
Which one?
Both of you.
Oh, at the same time.
Alyssa's of the world. How do you feel about Sailor Moon?
I haven't seen it. I know about it, kind of like it's like the transformation genesis in anime, but I don't really know much about it other than that because it doesn't seem like my cup of tea.
Oh.
Elissa?
I watched it as a kid, and I also watched Dragon Ball Z. I remember watching them religiously. We go to my grandma's on Wednesdays. She had cable, and I would watch them. But I don't know what they were about. I've internalized none of it except the outfits.
Yeah, the outfits are very, very like
so cute,
ingrained. Yeah, they're like ingrained in media, and everyone like sees Sailor Moon outfit, and it's Sailor Moon, even if you've never seen Sailor Moon.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the little cat with the moon on his head. Someone's gonna listen to this, and they're gonna be screaming at their car radio the name of the cat. When you do that, listen to I don't know his name. I'm sorry.
Neither do I. But
Artemis. I'm pretty sure that one's Artemis.
Because we were at the swap meet the other day, and whenever Ralph sees anything anime, he's like, Elissa. and I'm like, I don't think she likes Sailor Moon. I was like, I think it's too basic for her.
Black one is Luna.
I mean, I'm glad that he associates me with anime, I guess. I think every time he came to visit, I was probably watching anime.
Yep. All right. But speaking, so Rafa also described, he saw me watch this episode and said, why are you watching white supremacy?
Yep. Correct.
I mean, also, okay. can we all agree that Dalton is an all boys school, right? Like that
Yes.
was established.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them have a problem with a girl coming to their school. It's just specifically the Warblers, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird.
So season 6, episode 2, Homecoming without the dance. There has never been a homecoming dance on Glee. Missed opportunity.
Not even a homecoming football game. It's just like a
sing-
bonfire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Missed opportunity to sing Chris Daughtry's I'm Coming Home.
I'm coming home to the place where I belong.
I'm trying to,
Oh my
who
God,
is
is Chris
even,
Daughtry on this?
there's no
Yes,
Chris
hello, it's me,
Daughtry.
Chris Daughtry.
It's
I
not
was on American
over.
Idol and I didn't win. I don't think.
No,
I can't
he's on
remember.
he lost to Taylor Hicks. Him and
Oh, yes.
Catherine McPhee, reason for
Yeah.
the podcast.
Kind of.
indirectly.
Yeah, she is.
The Catherine McPhee on American Idol to the existence of Gleeboot pipeline. So okay. Yeah, so there's a few storylines. There's Rachel trying to resurrect the Glee Club, which kind of ties into Roderick.
Yeah, Rachel recruiting.
Yeah, and like
Which is
everyone.
weird. Like, how long has she have not had students in this club? And she's
Yeah.
just like allowed to hang out at the school.
And everyone coming back. There's all kind of one storyline. We have Samantha Ware, Jane Hayward at the Warblers at Dalton, and then we have postmodern gay Spencer. So I guess we should tackle like the main storyline of like Rachel recruiting first, because I mean the one I really want to talk about is Jane. That's where we have the most feeling. That's the most culturally relevant as anything in season 6 of Glee can be. And the Spencer stuff is just kind of there. So
I'm glad you told me his name. I didn't know his name. In fact, I didn't know any of these new people's names. Still don't know the twins' names.
The only one
Oh,
I remember is Roderick and Jane. I mean, those are the two.
Yep.
I don't know the twins. I immediately thought of Sharpay and her brother.
Yeah.
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 Just
Immediately-
brunettes. Just brunettes and cheerleaders.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Okay, so Rachel is
Ryan.
like, no one wants to come in. No one is joining Glee Club. Her and Kurt are arguing. I'm like getting all the timelines mixed up. Whatever. Her and Kurt are arguing over how they are organizing his sheet music. Kurt has the most idiotic idea to sort sheet music. I'm sorry, by feeling, by emotion.
I agree. It's very dumb. But it makes sense for this Glee club because of the way they like pick songs off of just vibes alone.
I think emotion is a terrible word for it, but he's actually sorting kind of like by genre.
Yeah,
okay, you
but
could
it's
do
such a
genre.
subjective
Yeah.
classification.
They're just making Spotify playlists, but in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sad Girl Starter Pack. Vinyl.
Wrecking Ball by Marley Rose in the Glee universe. Like, yeah, because okay, maybe by genre and then alphabetically, but like
Right.
Mhm.
of the two, if you're sorting by time, that also is like that's something you can kind of be like, I'm looking for an 80s song, go in this
Right.
area, you know. I think a combination of those, but then because then she's saying Kurt's her assistant and he's only there because it was her idea, very classic Rachel.
Yep.
They fight and they're like, we don't have anyone in the Glee Club, and Roderick is walking by. No, this is later. Okay, so then Rachel's like, I made some phone calls, and the end, like everyone shows up.
Tragic.
This
That was
is
the
Yeah.
most tragic thing I've ever seen. All the
Everyone
lights
just
came
showing up
on.
on the stage. Everyone's like, I'm so happy to see you. They're chatting, whatever. It's like, this is so depressing that
Yeah,
these
it's
kids
like-
keep coming back literally
Yeah.
at the drop of a hat.
That's why this season would make so much more sense if it happened after a time jump. You could have Blaine be a legit teacher. Rachel could have like just flunked out of the entertainment industry like after a few years of not going well.
Yeah.
You know, like if this was 3 years later and the last time they were at the high school was, you know, like for the closing of the Glee Club, that would actually be like, okay, it's been a few years, you're coming back to start the Glee Club. Like, is that super realistic? No, but like it's more like
Yeah,
Yeah,
somewhat
like-
more
Well,
logical.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also do, like, they had an opportunity here for Finn, who was kind of like in the running to take over the Glee Club, and Rachel, who kind of failed her own journey, but still is very attached to Finn. Try and keep something of him alive. Specifically, like, her keeping alive the Glee Club could be connected to Finn's death. Like, you could have done something with that, but they didn't.
Yeah, so like a pair, like, he dies and they're gonna shut down the Glee Club. Like, she's like, I have to do something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be amazing growth for her character too.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
But this is decent growth, and then she's like, the Glee Club meant so much to us, we wanted to stay together. So like, Huck and Quinn are back.
He's still in his blues, which is, like, again, a thing that military members do not do unless it's like a special occasion. They wear them like twice in their whole careers, probably.
Yep.
We have Brittany and Santana, Mercedes.
Are Brittany and Santana together, or are they just friends?
I think so. Yeah.
Can't remember.
We
They
have
flirty vibes at the end.
Cool. Thanks.
Artie's there. Sam is he's already at the school.
Yeah.
And then there's this reunion, and then guess who's back, baby? Tina Cohen's
Tina. Yeah. They made her go and park the rental car, which I'm like, I'm sorry. So she got a rental car to presumably pick them all up from like the airport
In their hometown. They don't have cars. Their parents don't have cars. They live there.
And then they're just like, she had to go park it, and then everyone went in without her. It's like,
and she's like, guys, I thought you were supposed to wait for me.
Why does she come back? Like, why does she hang out with these people? Has she not met anyone awesome at Brown? Like, come on.
And then they do the thing where they're like, oh, come here. We love you, Tina. And I'm like, that does not excuse what you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I was upset.
That's a pet peeve of mine, is when someone like is being a dick to you and they're like, I love you. And it's like, just like,
you're
maybe,
an abuser.
yeah, like maybe don't be a dick to begin with. And then, yeah. But
also, when they turned on the lights, I was like, oh my God, like Brittany and Santana and Mercedes were just sitting there in the dark. And I was like, no, they were. They absolutely were, for the high drama of it all, just sitting in the dark. 100%.
And then Sam does ask Mercedes if she is still a virgin.
In front of everybody. I don't care how low you whisper that. Like, in front of all of their friends.
Someone's going to hear.
Yeah.
Someone.
Which, like, I think it's gross to ask in general. You could argue that because they were dating and that was like a big thing for them, that like there's a way he could have asked it, or like, oh, you know, but like he's in it. He's basically like, have you fucked? Like that's like that's the tone. And so then
not like, oh, are you seeing anybody?
Yeah.
I mean, because it was a dramatic experience when we were watching their story, and now it's a joke.
Yeah.
So
because I thought this was setting up like, oh, they're gonna develop their relationship in this episode. Nope.
That was just a joke.
Just checking to make sure she hasn't fucked yet.
And Mercedes, because like, oh, did she find someone hotter than me? Is that what she fucked? Was it because I wasn't hot enough or something? I don't know. But Mercedes is just like, I'm used to microaggressions. I went to high school here. So there's so much to unpack with the idea of.
I have to pause here. So my boyfriend, my trusty, rusty boyfriend, Mark, watched this episode with me the same way he watched the Justin Bieber episode with me. And those are the only 2 episodes of Glee he has ever seen. I did make notes of all of his color commentary. And I wanted to share my favorite, which is when Kurt first came on screen. And why are they having dinner at Mr. Shoes? I actually don't care. I'm not worried.
So many questions. Where is Emma? She works at the school. She lives in this house. They have a baby.
Where's the baby?
Okay, anyway, Kurt comes on screen and Mark points at him and goes, is he gay?
But like that's everything about Kurt, which they will get to in a very meta conversation. Yeah. Yep. So they
Kurt's right. I mean, you really just do get identified by your sexual orientation.
So
it was great.
They're all like, we're gonna bring back the Glee Club, and they're all excited, but no one's there. So like, we need to show them what they're missing. Also, Becky's back. She was doing the xylophone. She was saying, "Don't make out on the bleachers. That's where I make out."
She threatened to sacrifice the losing team.
Super extra, as Becky does.
Yeah.
But the Glee Club, throughout the episode, they keep doing this thing of like sketch art, like sketching.
I literally was like, is this a Draw My Life video from
God,
2010?
I hated it.
Okay.
It was so bad.
It's a shout out to the Take On Me music video.
Yeah.
But yet the song wasn't that central to the episode.
No.
Is that what it actually looks like though?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
they
It's
do like a
better.
sketch and it integrates like real life
Like
imagery.
a woman is reading a comic book and gets like sucked into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
but
jump from that.
Is it actually animated or like
Yeah.
The
This
music
was
video is
not.
classic. It's really good. Yeah.
Take
No,
On Me music video?
Glee did not have that budget. Let's
No.
even sick.
But they jump off for this visual because Artie's
yeah,
doing
no, it looks better.
storyboarding. And that's also when he tells Quinn that like
He's drawing her boobs.
I am drawing your boobs, but through my storyboarding class, so it's okay for me to sexualize you.
No,
But like,
no.
are her boobs moving? Is she? I was like, you know what? I guess she is a female character written by a man. Her boobs may be moving. They may be glowing
She
orbs.
moved boobily.
She breasted boobily. That is
My favorite
No
adverb.
adjectives. Adverbs, my bad.
It's my favorite adverb.
Boobily.
I love that also that male authors are still doing it. Like this isn't like an old timey thing. This is still happening.
So bad.
It's why my sibling never got through Game of Thrones. They were like, he just is describing boobs all the time.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through a science fiction novel because it was written by a man from a woman's perspective, and it was very clear that it was not correct.
My boobs were speaking to me as they laid on my rib cage. They were saying we're perky and we want to be touched.
There was literally a masturbation scene, but it was like
was she touching her boobs?
sci-fi-esque.
Oh,
No, she was not. And I was like, this is stupid. What? She's like, she has an alien parasite. Why is this a thing happening right now?
you know, I had a British man touch my boobs once, and that's colonialism. So that was King Charles. No. So they're doing that, and so they sing, they put on the Kurt's like, we're gonna show them what they're missing. They put on Take On Me.
They sing all over the
they run around singing.
cafeteria.
They're wearing really fun costumes. I actually really like this cover. I really like this number. It's a fun song. It's high energy. And at this point in Glee, that's all I'm asking for is like, make this musical number entertaining. And there were a couple this episode that were entertaining. Take On Me is actually like, could be in like my top 30 Glee covers.
Oh, I did not like it.
Yeah,
but I have like a high standard for like anything that is supposed to look like animation or artistic in any way.
Right.
And this was not it.
Oh, I mean, the visuals for me, it's like I like the costumes. I don't know about the animation thing. I mean, just the music.
The animation thing being such a huge part of the song, like at least 40 to 50% of what they were trying to do with it, like sucked. It was really bad.
I remember it being animated, so like that's how much I retained this song.
And like I say animated, but it's not animated. That's just a layover effect that you can do like an After Effects.
That's like a Zoom green screen.
The Apple camera. What's that called? Yeah,
it was
those
bad.
Avatars on Twitch or whatever.
That makes this whole thing worse now that I know that. Because obviously, like to my eye, I would just be like, okay, whatever. But I did not really watch it. I listened to it and I was typing some notes, and then I looked up. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. They're doing the video thing. And then I looked up and it's real life again, and they're in costumes.
I really liked Sam's costume. I really liked Puck's costume. First time I've ever said that. I would wear both those outfits. I think they were both great.
I don't remember what they were. I'm so sorry.
I think Sam was in green pants with an orange shirt and like a yellow tank top.
Like teal pants.
Yeah.
I do remember the teal pants.
And Puck was in like red pants with like a pink V-neck They're very, in college, as I said this, my goal is to dress like a Lego person, and these really fit that aesthetic. And that's kind of my aesthetic.
Lego.
Yeah.
Got it.
I actually have a Lego collection jacket. That was a gift from my sister and their wife, who was the person in college I said that to. So they sing Take on Me. Rachel dances with Roderick in this.
Oh,
Really?
she does?
Yeah.
She does?
Before the whole thing with Roderick happens. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And we saw
Why not?
Roderick in last episode
When?
in the cafeteria.
When?
In like the middle of like in the background, or like he
Like
we
walking
focused on
towards-
him.
He was there when Sue was putting like the thing to get rid of the sex drive on the kale for the other kid.
That was
What?
him.
Wait, is he the guy that had like a billion like bowls of kale?
I don't remember that, but Roderick was there in the same like
Interesting.
outfit basically.
Huh.
So like
A billion bowls of kale? This show should have ended after season 2, episode 13. They should have gone out on a high.
So Roderick is like walking down the hall. He gets a character voiceover, which is probably the first one this season.
Before we
The
even
first
know
one in a
his
long
name.
time. Yeah, he's like, I'm the fat kid with earphones, or
He's
because
like not fat.
No, he's not. He's a little overweight, but he's not like fat. Like,
I mean, like for Hollywood though.
yeah.
I'm-
But
yeah,
it's
for
like,
Hollywood,
it's
yeah.
like,
Like,
realistically, this is
Like
No.
realistically, that boy could be on the football team.
yeah.
Yeah.
He'd make a
that
great
boy would be on the
linebacker.
football team. Like, yeah.
I mean, he's like big, just in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
He's tall and he's also wide. He's just like a large person.
Yeah. But considering like how Hollywood has tried to like pass off like Jennifer Goodwin and Renee Zellweger as like fat people, this is a lot closer. And so he's like, yeah, I wear them so I don't have to listen to your dumbass jokes. I've heard them all. I don't care. And I'm like, I don't know if this is good representation, but okay. Like I don't like, and I mean that. I don't know if it's good or bad. I was just kind of like, okay, like he's over it. He's over the jokes.
Yeah,
But
but
he-
he's
Yeah,
also
his- I
isolating
mean-
himself.
Yeah.
Well, that's the part that I identified with more
Right.
than like bullying is more like, yes, I distinctly remember wearing headphones, so I didn't have to interact with people.
Yeah. I think it's like, for me, it seems like those things are connected, not necessarily because like he wants to isolate himself. Like it seems like no one wants to talk to him, so he's just gonna isolate himself. People are just gonna be mean to him.
And I think
Yeah.
this is the danger that Glee has always fallen in that it has for its time, well, not really by 2015 standards anymore, but like, it had diverse representation, but all the kids need to have a problem, right? A thing that they need to break out of, and they need Glee Club. And the thing is, it's always like a cisgendered, white, able-bodied person running the Glee Club in that teacher role. And I'm not saying it's just like, I think that's where some of the problems sometimes come, is that the person helping them is always like normative, and
Right,
like
yeah.
mainstream. And so it's not even that the coach of the Glee Club needs to be diverse in some way. You could even just have another teacher or another character who represents that, like, you like can be fat and happy and like not care what anyone thinks, but also have like a fulfilling social life. You know,
Right.
and I'm not saying you need that for every form of identity that Glee feels like addressing, but if there's like a couple people that weren't just like Will and Rachel and Finn that were in those positions, or Blaine in this case, which there is a subversion of the typical Glee storyline with the Blaine and Jane stuff. So that's why it's interesting. But anyway, so Rachel sees him look at the sign-up sheet and is like, oh my God, you're going to sign up. Oh my God. Like,
She bombards him, doesn't even let
I'm
him talk.
so Rachel Berry coded. Like the second she did this, I was like, I would have done that in high school. Oh my God, I didn't give it a shout out. Okay, top of this episode. It's the homecoming episode, which is very special to me this week because my little brother Jack was just voted homecoming king this week.
Oh my
for our
gosh.
high school.
Congrats to Jack.
I was so excited. We had a slew of family public appearances this week. My father was also inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. I just outed my location, bleep that. And and we had a homecoming parade, and we had a coronation ceremony where he's like crowned, and then we had to escort him across the field on the actual like homecoming game. But I was blown away. The first thing I thought was, I have never in my life been that well liked by that many of my peers. I can't even imagine how that feels.
Oh,
amazing.
Yeah.
You'll have to keep him humble. I do my absolute. I was so proud of him. It's really hard because he's also the drum major for the band, so he does this big baton routine, and he caught his baton. He absolutely killed it this week. So very fitting that I come on for the homecoming episode. What was my train of thought here? Doesn't matter. Carry on. So she's just like, you should then corner this guy from Pippin and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what about this man says Pippin? Yeah. And so she basically scares him off, and Puck walks in just to be like, Rachel, you scared him off.
Which she did. He's not wrong.
Yeah. But I need to tell women when they do things wrong.
Because like
it was weird.
He just comes in, that's what he does, and then
are they all just walking around the school? Like they're all
lurking?
Yep.
Because she also hears singing at one point in the vents and is like lurking and like listening and like hunting around.
Trying to figure out where it's coming from. Goes into the male locker rooms.
Very Mr. Schuster. Very Mr. Schuster.
It was so disappointing.
There was a man trying to cover his penis. A boy trying to cover his penis.
A child.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking. And I'm like,
doesn't matter. You're still here.
That is predator behavior. Like, you should not be allowed near minors anymore. Like, you could probably get on the sex offender registry for doing that. And I don't even remember how that scene ends. Did she even find Roderick?
No, she listens to the vent and follows it somewhere else.
When she loses it. Kurt was also in the locker room too, just like hanging out. Also, when he was in the locker room, he talked to Spencer and he said, I was the kicker, which was transformational for this high school. And I was like, that is so me talking about anything I did in high school. Like I was VP of the Ecology Club, which was transformational for this school.
It is funny, but yes, I am not hanging out in a locker room if I'm not, I mean, really ever, but if I'm in a locker room, I'm either like walking towards the bathroom and then leaving, or I am also changing my clothes. I'm not just hanging out while other people change their clothes. In
a high school, no teachers would be allowed in there except for the coaches and assistant coaches.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of it, like the gym teacher, whoever, that may be.
Yeah, why would you go in there?
Like, there's no reason. Those people shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, and you shouldn't. Yeah, it's just.
There's a lot of things that I don't like about locker rooms. Just in general, they're really kind of like super public. In our culture, like Americanized culture is not public about like being together in a space naked. I know that happens in other cultures, but not in the US. It's not really normalized. Which actually I have been wanting to check out a Korean bath just to see what it's like, but like I don't know if I'd like it. That sort of normalization could be interesting, but with the background of like being like raised in the US and like watching this episode and seeing these sort of things happen is not okay.
Yeah. No, well, also just the mixing of adults and children children in said space.
And she's not an actual teacher. She's a volunteer.
She's like a 19 or 20-year-old woman.
Yeah.
She's not getting paid for this.
I don't think so.
No one's cutting her check. And she was at the high school.
She paid to do it. Yeah.
This is so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are sad characters. Yeah. Also, Veronica did the whole barging into the locker room thing in like episode 3 of Riverdale, and it was to end slut shaming. So she had a much better reason than Rachel.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, we all
I
watched
watched it.
Yeah.
You guys just outing yourselves as people who watch Riverdale in a public space.
Cullen outs himself as watching Riverdale all the time.
I went
Every
to see
single
the cast.
episode.
I-
Every single one.
I straight face say, I need to catch up. I need to see the episode where they go back in time to stop MLK's assassination.
Oh my god.
Because what other show does that? What other show?
Glee would. If we'd
the-
given them a season 7.
See, Glee couldn't, and that's its weakness. Is that it won't breach that line to just go full on unhinged.
Okay, I won't. How many spoilers can we give for season 6? Like,
I
won't,
do know.
but
I do know,
yeah, it doesn't
I
get
do know
unhinged
some
at all.
things, but not like supernatural unhinged. I think
Okay, yeah,
that's yeah. Anyways, she can't find the voice. And then there's the and then she leaves. Wait, okay. And then getting mixed up with Frozen 2 because they're both hunting a voice. And then there's
Obviously.
the Tea Party McKinley Patriots.
Oh God. Yeah, you guys remember when the Tea Party was a thing?
Wait, so are we just going by like
We're doing storyline.
okay?
This is not
so
chronological because we jumped a bunch at the beginning just to focus on the main
Yeah,
Rachel and
okay.
Roderick stuff. And then we'll do
I'm-
Jane and then Spencer.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we could throw in the twins. Santana, Brittany, and Quinn go back into these cheerleader uniforms, and Artie's some there for some reason.
Because he
And
has to whisper the
Yeah.
"That's proud without ya.
I
That's
hated
proud without ya." That's all he does.
Yeah.
This number was so boring. And the girls
It
are so
was.
hot, so it's really
I
saying something
hated
how
it.
boring it was.
Can
they're-
you imagine trying specifically when you're like 20-ish to seduce high school
Yes.
boys
Uh-huh.
in your cheerleader outfit?
Yeah. That's a little.
Inappropriate.
Yeah. You
It
know,
was really, really bad. It was bad. And they
Santana-
literally talked about seducing them. Like
Sa-
that was a
yeah. She
actual
said her sex
conversation.
appeal, but she did
Yeah.
kill the Nicki Minaj rap break. I will say
Yeah,
she.
sure.
Yeah.
It
I
was
will
pretty
say.
good, that part.
A high soprano song like that, I would not pick for those 3 actresses.
No,
It
not
did-
at all.
Like they were fine. It just was like,
There's some auto tune happening, and
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
as The Rock and Moana, but you know.
yeah.
I'm not here for the rock slander.
America's favorite rock.
Have you guys seen the video of Rihanna laughing at Ariana Grande dancing on stage to Problem? Because
Yes.
she's just kind of like moving slowly back and forth. Like that's what this Glee
Uh-huh.
performance gave. It had the exact same energy.
You're Rihanna laughing at it.
Yeah. I'm that girl Riri. So yeah, it happens, and they're like, we should join Glee Club, and then Kitty's like,
Yeah, Kitty's
hey,
there.
bitch, bet you thought you saw the last of me. And she's like, I'm here. Why would we join your terrible Glee Club after the way you treated us? Like Rachel
Yeah.
Berry never learned our names. You abandoned us. And Artie's like, oh, hey, Kitty. And she's like, you treated me like garbage when you graduated. You just like dumped
Yeah.
me. Because he was ready to text the
Yep.
moment Gwyneth was ready to be with him. He was ready to text Kitty and break up. He had a breakup text drafted. That woman got him into film school.
Gwyneth
How-
Paltrow?
No,
Kitty.
Oh,
So
Kitty-
that
he was
girl,
ready to
that
text
girl.
She was a girl. Yes, she was
Yes.
literally
Oh,
a
okay.
child. Though also an emotional terrorist, body shamer, Christian nationalist.
We just
They
But that
She-
Left Behind thing she did still gets me.
Yeah.
The Left Behind prank, 10 out of 10 would recommend people watch it.
If
It is
Sue
actually very
Sylvester-
funny.
If Sue
I thought you were
Sylvester
going to say
predict,
10 out of 10 would recommend people do it. And I was
No.
like, yes, let's
Well,
do it.
No, I don't believe in prank videos.
Sue
They're just
Sylvester,
liabilities and lawsuits waiting to
are.
happen.
You don't videotape it.
they're the prank videos are the evil twin of flash mobs. And yes, that is.
Mhm.
If Sue is like proto Donald Trump, Kitty is proto Marjorie Taylor Greene. At least Kitty as we initially meet her. I think this season she gets a bit of a rehab because Becca Tobin is friends with Leah Michelle. Hence she's still on the show, unlike Melissa and whatever
Everyone
the fuck
else.
Ryder's name and Jacob Artist who plays Jake. Yeah.
All those, they supposedly got transferred out except for Kitty because she's a good cheerleader, I guess.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, you guys are garbage and you're super mean and self-centered. And she's right. Because they did just leave them, which, you know, not like a high schooler really needs to be that invested in what's going on at their high school when they graduate. But if you're friends with someone, it is kind of a dick move to just like forget that you were friends.
Yeah. But also, I felt like Kitty, while having the high ground in this scene, still was being portrayed as like the mean person.
Right. Yeah. It was really weird. It's like, oh yeah, right. We're supposed to hate her. I'm like, I don't know. She's making some pretty good points.
Yeah.
Artie's a trash boyfriend and it's really about time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember that awkward musical number that was kind of about STIs with that girl Julie? Oof. So then the twins, Madison and Mason.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Madison and Mason. I have no idea.
They're both
like,
M names.
You said their names and there was no like ding of recollection
their last
in
name
my
is
brain.
McCarthy.
Yes.
They
Madison
don't like
and Mason
communists.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
They're
Wow.
very matchy with their names with the
They're
M's
just
and stuff.
they're just, you know,
alliterative. That's what I was
Alliteration.
they're very creepy twin-ish, you know.
Well,
like,
no, we don't know that because
Kitty
Kitty
just
tells that. Like, otherwise, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're siblings, like they're twins. Of course, they're gonna be like super close, like a lot of twins are. I didn't find them weird at all, actually, but I did think that the flower in the attic joke was actually pretty funny.
It was
it's
like
not a love story to aspire to. I was like, that's really funny.
They're corny more than creepy. They're just like kind of weird, corny kids.
I immediately thought of Sharpay and Ryan. Like, vibes exactly.
Yeah, if
with
there's
them.
sexual like sexual tension between any like pair of siblings, it's definitely Ryan and Sharpay, only because like they hate each other.
I mean, I was gonna say Life with Derek has the famous step sibling.
Gross.
It's
I
like
can't talk
Cersei
about
and
that
Jamie
show.
So the and then they're like, oh, we want to audition, can we do it as the parents? And Hannah's like, sure, I guess. The actress, the cheerleader, brunette cheerleader, she was the original Zoe in the original Broadway cast of Dear Evan Hansen.
Fun fact.
She is also in Ryan Murphy's The Politician, also with Ben Platt. And I saw her in LAX once.
Fun.
Wow.
That's a fun fact.
So yeah, she's still working with Ben Platt and Ryan Murphy. But she was not in the Dear Evan Hansen movie.
Good for her.
Yeah, honestly,
she was like, I don't think I need to play a high schooler.
Yeah, again.
I wish everybody had that thought.
Yeah, because she played a high schooler in The Politician first season and in this and the Dear Evan Hansen. So she's like, third time's the charm.
Done with high school.
Yeah. So they later are in the final group number, which we'll do at the end, but that's their audition.
Are we going to talk about the Tea Party?
Yeah, we're at the Tea Party, which, okay, by 2015, the Tea Party movement.
That's what I was so confused. But also it's funny that like these high schoolers think they're going to change the world by continuing the Tea Party. So that's cute, I guess.
Cute.
But
the more I think of the Tea Party, the more I want to throw up. Oh my God. Okay.
They brought them muffins and to like, I guess to like convince them to join the Glee Club. Like, what did they expect from these kids?
It's bribery. I mean,
bribery.
But like, what did they expect from these kids? Like, they know what they want the Glee Club to be. What ideals do they think these crazy kids had?
Well, because
also, why are they asking them to join when they don't even know if they can sing? Are they just asking them to audition?
Yeah. Yep, they need bodies on the stage.
Everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
also,
at one point, Rachel says we have a rigorous audition process, and Tina's like, "Oh, Sugar Mama couldn't sing," and Artie's like, "But she was hot." I'm like, garbage.
And then I was upset that I was like, "Apparently, you only have to sing if you are not hot.
Which there has not been a single
Thanks.
member of that Glee Club who wasn't hot.
True.
I just
But so you have to sing and be hot, or just be hot.
Just be hot. That's the
Yeah.
the
criteria.
Tea Party thing confused me because they have standards of who they want. Like, is there no other club that they could do? Is it just the Tea Party Club?
I think it's because they thought they were losers and would want to join.
Or Ryan Murphy just thought it would be so
I think
funny.
he just
Yeah.
wanted to be like, hi,
Yeah.
you remember that? You remember the Tea Party, guys?
Well, yeah, because
Mhm.
it can't get any worse than the Tea Party, right?
The Tea Party
No,
did not
but-
like fade into oblivion. Like it's still around.
I don't think it is it?
Oh, I googled it. Like in the past, I don't know if like how accurate these polls were when they were taken, but like it's still a thing. A lot of Republicans like are Republicans, but they still identify with the Tea Party or like,
yeah, to
support
get
it.
working
as a
class
movement.
votes who they can then disenfranchise.
Fascinating. Yeah, I
Right.
kind of figured it just fitted into oblivion because it's not really a buzzword anymore.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We've moved on as a society.
Yeah, we've traded in for different buzzwords.
You know, I've
Yay.
seen the Tea Party. I've seen the Boston Harbor, the Tea Winnin. What's been in the past?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about the Tar and Feather Party? I mean, come on.
Come on.
So my big question about this scene was at the very end when Sam does his like Quinn had sex with a Latina lesbian and it was like so cringy. Number one, I was
Yeah.
like, first thing I thought was, remember when it was like shocking to be gay? Like that was like the craziest thing you could do. And then number two, was that also cringy in 2015 or was it still like shocking to be gay and we would have been like, Sam pwned those Tea Partiers epically. Like, or was it just always cringy?
I think it was halfway. It
I
was
think-
half cringe.
I think they were trying to make it cringe because it was Sam who was saying it.
Right.
Yeah. So okay, to go over this scene, you know, they bring the muffins, and Quinn is like, "We used to be part of conservatives clubs too, like the Celibacy Club and the God Squad." And Mercedes is like, "Yeah, most of you guys are Christians, right?" And they're like, "We're all Christians." And then they're
That was
like,
good.
we're gonna like, you don't have to be losers, like we're the most popular club. And then Tina, oh my God, I love Tina, she's like, oh my God, that's horrible, what is happening to America? Tina
Little
predicted
did
Trump.
she know. Little did she know.
And
Well, I
then
mean, when this was airing, the 2015, right? So
early
like
2015,
yeah, I
spring
mean, but
2015, yeah.
Trump would have very well been in the front, like the forefront of, yeah, because they would start like campaigning and stuff like that. So he was probably on the horizon. And so Tina / Ryan Murphy was like, this is going to get crazy.
So then they're like, we don't need your Glee Club, but we are popular and we are trying to save this country from the Muslim welfare state of Barack Hussein Obama. The Obama-ness of this episode off
Of
the
course,
charts.
they focus on Mercedes when they say Hussein Obama.
And then
and it's
she's
just
like,
like-
we don't need you, Lily White, blah, 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 like cat's
They would have
ass,
hate
whatever.
crimed her. There's no way they would have sat there in silence as she tore them apart. There would have been.
No, I mean, Sam was there, though. And he's like a tall 35-year-old man. He's not, I don't think he's even 35 right now, the actor. But like,
It's just his hair. It makes him look so much older and not in a good way.
oh, I think he looks great. But I
Oh,
think he could,
That's great.
like, I don't think those boys would have tried anything with like all those people.
Well, not to mention, we have to like also consider the fact that these people are probably cowards. So
That's
yeah.
another thing.
So then they take the muffins and this girl's like, no. And then so I was gonna look this up, but I forgot. I read this on one of those like Glee confession things that I get shown. Is that I think Sam improvised that last line.
is that why Quinn's laugh was so maniacal?
Yeah, so
I
he
think it
Oh my
was,
gosh,
like,
I lived
legit.
for it.
yeah, so
I
he
lived for it.
it was like
so
a
good.
real laugh. And so he said the line, and so she was confused, and he just the ka-cha thing, which was corny, right? But that's Sam. And then she bumps. So she's like watching him do this, and he bumps into her, and like they're laughing, and it's funny because it's it shows that I feel like sometimes the camaraderie of the Glee Club they're talking about is really between the cast off stage, which is why sometimes you're watching, you're like, are these people actually friends? Because like Sam and Quinn haven't had a meaningful interaction since season 2, episode 13 comeback, probably. Actually, that is the episode they broke up in, I think.
That's correct.
Yeah. So
well, I'm a historian.
Yeah. So like
of that episode specifically.
Yeah.
They interacted then, and then Quinn was like trying to get back together, and he was like, you got white girl problems. Like, and they have not really interacted since then. So, but they have show this like very loving, fun camaraderie with the laugh. And he's like, the way he's touching her, like, isn't weird. It's like, oh, come on, we need to get away, you know, like.
I lived for Quinn's laugh in that scene. It was so like off the wall, crazy and real. Like you can tell it's real.
They have compilations on YouTube of like Glee cast members in the background that like zoom in on them like being themselves. There's a lot of Naya Rivera in the background like doing her own thing.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And because you think, how many times does Quinn actually get to genuinely laugh other than like in early season 1 where she was like being mean and going like ha ha ha?
Yeah,
like never.
Yeah, so because like women aren't allowed to be funny or laugh, but
you're not supposed to laugh loud because you're not supposed to like stand out. And
so that's what I did.
Unfortunate.
It was cringy, like the dialogue said, but the delivery and the whole little interaction I really liked. Also, Rachel does get slushied earlier. Forgot that. Whatever. I don't know if a high schooler would slushy an adult though. I think generally, like when they're doing, like when you cross to adult, then you're like, oh, now I'm gonna get in trouble.
It's like untouchable territory. It's the same sort of thing. Like with Sam last episode, he was getting bullied, but he's an adult person.
Yeah.
And now Rachel's getting bullied by high schoolers. Like high schoolers can be mean, but most of the time I want to say it's like when they quote unquote bully adults, it's like name calling and just like not following authority sort of things. Like, and I don't want to say
not physical violence.
Well, I mean, I think it does happen, but probably not in this school.
Yeah, because then they say whoever threw that pencil, your mom's a hoe.
What did you say? I said your mom's a hoe.
So the Sam one last episode did make more sense, and I could see like a football team like kind of playing, oh, we're just goofing around, but like being kind of dicks about it and like throwing stuff, but like straight up grabbing a slushie and throwing it at this volunteer teacher.
Yeah.
Like in a hallway where there's like definitely cameras. Like that woman could sue your parents, and she needs the money because she spent it all on doing this Glee Club. So anyways,
and apparently this school costs the same as a private school.
It doesn't cost the same. It has the same
rigorous academic standards.
It has something to do with cost because this is a public school. It's not going to cost her anything.
But they have the same academic standards because apparently they don't have humanities. Remember?
Right, exactly.
They don't have any humanities at this school.
They're not learning English. They're not learning history. Nope.
No. So
fascinating.
That's why they're on the Tea Party Club. But so then Rachel talks about like, I hear the voice, and Sam's like, is in the showers. It's always in the showers. It's like, wait, so you knew Sam? So Sam knew Finn heard him in the showers because he didn't approach.
It's like a weird meta joke that the characters are now in on.
Because also that means Quinn or Santana
and no one thinks
Sam
it's weird
that they had sex.
No one thinks it's weird that Mr. Shu actively lurked in the showers to recruit people.
Yeah,
and so framed him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, feeds into the bisexual Sam theory, because he's like, Finn's watching me in the shower. I'm okay. Yeah. Because even if you're not like homophobic, you'd still be like, why are you watching me in the shower? That's weird. So okay, but they find him in the library. He's singing in the library.
He's been singing for 2 days straight.
No.
What?
Listen,
Like,
at least make it like a private study room that has
Right.
like.
I thought that's what it was gonna be. It's not. It's literally looking at the books,
full
headphones
volume.
on, full volume singing.
Full
no
volume.
one's like, what the hell is going on? Everyone's just like doing their thing. No librarian coming to like shush him. Like
the librarian's probably fired because there's no humanities. They don't need books anymore.
oh, good
Becky
point.
did tell them to bring books to burn at the bonfire.
Yes, Becky did say that.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So yeah, because I was gonna say like anytime they have been in the library and they've been trying to do stuff, like there's always a librarian to do that, like that joke, you know?
Yeah.
It's like shh.
This is a repeat too. This is the second day in a row. This kid is full volume singing in the library. So there has to be no authority figure there. And the kids, I guess, are just like cool with it, even though they famously hate everybody who sings at any point in time in their high school. But
Why
this
did
kid's
Becky
okay.
get slushied?
And after they've been bullying him allegedly for weeks,
I haven't
But
seen
this is
proof.
okay.
I mean, I kind
Well,
of
they did say something
push
about
it.
the fat kid, blah blah blah. Like he was just like, okay.
Yeah, they put that sign on his back, the wide load thing.
Oh, I didn't see
but they
that.
let him sing full volume in the library.
Yeah,
without
I don't
bullying him?
know.
Yeah,
Doesn't make any sense.
I feel like a 2015 teenager. You know what? There would still be body shamers, but I think it's also more likely that you'd be bullied for singing in the library than your weight.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I worked in a library all through high school, and the tales I could tell, I will keep it very brief. My favorite story is the time I walked in on 2 middle schoolers full making out in the back of the library. I shut that down so fast. Okay, number 1, and they were like rightfully so embarrassed. But then number 2, if anybody so much as breathed in that library, I had nothing else to do. I'm gonna come find you. I'm gonna tell you to keep it down. Quiet. You're disturbing the books. So I was just, I screeched audibly
Disturbing the
when
books.
they just had him in the back singing. As a former librarian,
and they
I was
never
shocked.
explain it. It's just like, yeah, he was singing in the library. Like this is
as one does.
somewhat based in the real world, and there's no explanation for that. But also, it's funny because like they come to him from all sides.
Yeah,
and it's like he's like, "Are you
him.
gonna beat me up? Like I have to get in the fetal position." I was like, "Yeah, I would feel threatened too," because like none of them look nice right now. They're like just like waltzing right up to him.
We forgot Tina's line where Quinn was like, "I only used to hang out with people like me," and Tina was like, "Then Puck got her pregnant, and she sort of changed for the better." Which, yeah, Quinn's character arc has been all over the place. So,
yeah.
But yeah, he's singing in the library. You know, people did have a threesome in my college library, and because there's like a prayer room, and I had one friend who'd like unironically want to use the prayer room, and I'm like, you know what people do in the prayer room.
Yeah, I mean, at CSU, there were like private study rooms in the library, and my freshman year, I was told not to go into those rooms or use the furniture. Because people definitely go in there and have sex. And I'm like,
I mean,
good to know.
Thanks for not passing that on, Hannah. That's really helpful of you because I use those all the time.
I use mine and I did stuff in those.
Also, I don't know if you guys have merch yet, but you know what goes on in the prayer room should be a sticker at the very least.
Let us know on social media if you guys want that.
Please. So then they're like, you should join the Glee Club. He's like, I don't have any friends. Like, if I join, no one's gonna want to join. They're like, no, like everyone's welcome. Quinn said something about like we're all just a phone call away if we need something. Which, you know what, is true. They do that.
Literally,
also,
if anyone's like, I have a problem I have to explain to this teenager. Cool, I'll be there. I can sing. I'll have the number ready. Don't know how I'm getting there, but I will teleport if I have to.
Because Rachel says something about like, I know you all have lives, and I'm like, do they?
Because they don't. This is their life. Like, this is their life. And also, like, when Sue's doing her announcement, she's like, homecoming obviously means, you know, people coming back to their high school. And I'm like, I don't think it actually means that. Because in high school,
I mean, I think the reason homecoming existed as a concept was initially for that. I just don't think that's what really happens anymore.
Exactly. But like, that's why I'm like, but these kids come back regardless of whether it's homecoming. They just come back because they can. And then they are putting kids with pig noses, putting pig noses on them, putting them in pens. You know, they're just letting these other people just waltz around.
Was that a metaphor or that literally happened?
Literally happened last
literally
episode.
happened.
Sue is actively body shaming and caning these children.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Was
That's
that
hence the bowls of kale.
No,
She's
he was
forcing
not.
them to be starved and eat only kale.
So
Yeah.
Roderick is bullied for being fat, but he escapes the pig kale
Yes.
regimen.
Maybe
Okay.
he's
No,
like
he does
just
eat the
under.
kale. He does eat the
To-
kale. He didn't have to do the pig nose.
Everyone has to
fair,
eat kale.
Kale
and protein
is
shakes.
Kale is like not starving. I eat so many kales.
Multiple kales.
You're doing Demeter's work. I cannot eat kale.
I love kale.
I like kale, but it's because like that's the only thing they get. You know,
Yeah.
that and protein shakes.
Okay.
Raw kale too. I'm not a big fan of raw kale. I have to cook it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Alyssa. You do have to cook it. Yeah, and it's just, I guess my high school soccer coach who gave me an eating disorder was just in the Sue Sylvester era.
There you go.
We all have one.
Yeah. I really hope I don't. really hope I escape that one. Yeah, so Roderick decides to join. He auditions with Mustang Sally, Quinn, Brittany, and Santana do a spontaneous backup vocals. Okay. And then Rachel's like, we'll get back to you in a week. And Kurt's like, can we just let him in? And she's like, okay, you're in.
Yeah,
That was actually really cute. I liked that.
But does she also like not realize that like she has no one in this club?
Yeah.
Sectionals are going to be in literally a couple weeks because they end up talking about it at Shu's house, which is weird.
As someone who is Rachel Berry coded, I can take this question, and it's for the high drama of it all.
Right, yes. Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I would do the same.
Rachel Berry coded is giving me the energy of my dad, the inventor of toaster strudel.
I feel all Rachel's psychological behavioral questions. I am happy to
direct them right to Alyssa. Got it.
So yeah, Roderick's in. He's in the final number, and he's at the first meeting, whatever. And so that really, we'll get to Jane now.
Yeah, let's get to Jane.
So Rachel,
most interesting part of this episode.
Yeah, this season probably. So Rachel, Kurt, Sam, apparently because he's there and he's like, can I come? And Blaine and Whit are all having dinner at Will's, and they're talking about Blaine's late as usual. But they're talking, and Kurt's salty about it, but they're talking about we're not going to compete, no poaching, no stealing set lists. And I'm like, you should probably just not do these, at all.
In general.
Anyway, yeah, like why do we have to put this down in rules?
Yeah, like you have all been on the same team. You guys have the same values.
Yep.
I don't think you need this conversation. The fact that you do worries me.
Yeah, but they did not say no rock salt slushies.
Oh boy.
Still on the table.
It's on the So they're talking about it, and then Emma is nowhere in sight.
Neither is the baby. She's probably with the baby. She left Will.
She's probably like, oh, you're inviting them over. I see them at school. I don't want to see them again. I'm going to take the baby because that's going to be less stressful.
I thought they were graduating and leaving my life, but now they all work here.
She's now a single mother. Who no longer
she left Will.
Yep.
That's our headcanon.
So they're talking about that, yeah, whatever. And then so then we meet Jane. This is in response to what happened with Jane earlier. So Blaine walks in and Jane is there and she's like, I'm here, my dad and my uncles, they all went to Dalton, and so I wanted to go here too, because it's like the best school. And being a man is definitely better than being a woman. And then they're like, okay, Blaine's like, that's great. And then she's like, I want to be a warbler. And he's like, well, they're all guys. And she's like, well, I got in this school on a class action lawsuit. So it's a Title IX, not a class action, a Title IX lawsuit. Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about how Blaine is having a crisis at the beginning, and he decides to not use hair gel one day, and it's lightly curly, and someone calls someone calls him a terrorist, except screams at him. I was like, what? I don't understand.
Is that because it's Middle Eastern coded dark curly hair?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I have dark curly hair. I don't think I'm Middle Eastern coded.
I mean, that's why it fell flat, because it's stupid.
It doesn't make sense. I actually don't think that. I think they just they wanted to say something aggressive.
They were stealing my humor. You know, I love calling people terrorists. Not. I've called Kitty one many a times. I called Terry the terrorist out of season
That's
one.
actually true. Yeah.
I've called groups of teenage girls at, not to their face, obviously. I'm not harassing groups of teenage girls, but groups of teenage girls at a skate park who are all skating hand in hand and taking up the entire lane. Like, no one can get by them. Terrorist. But Blaine without hair gel.
It
He
looks
looks great.
fine. Yeah.
And then
I didn't even hear this insult because I was so distracted by the fact that he apparently lives in a motel room. Or
Why does he
something of
live
the
at
sort?
home?
No, wait.
Is that
he
his
lives at home,
childhood
right?
bedroom?
I think we've seen his
Supposed to
childhood
be,
bedroom
maybe?
multiple times. It has looked different every time.
Yes, that's the thing. So I don't
Same
know
as
where he's
Quinn's.
living.
Because remember, one time Quinn had a normal bedroom. One time
And
she
then
was in
she
like
had a fireplace.
Gothic manor fireplace with the Virgin
Like
Mary.
the Crimson Peak manor.
Yeah. So yeah, so
That
and then because
happens.
he comes up to Sam too, and he's like, hey, hey, it's me, Blaine. And Sam's like, dude, I don't care what you're selling. I'm not into that stuff. And I'm like, does he mean drugs or sex?
Or both.
Or both?
Oh,
All of it.
maybe. Yeah.
The smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord.
So yeah, that joke sucked. And then he went back to having gel in his hair. It was like, that was pointless. It
And I'm like, he looks
wasted 45
great.
seconds.
Yeah. And so there, yeah, he's having this crisis now. He's like, I love the Warblers. I love tradition and stability. And so then Jane is like shaking up his homoerotic male-only space. You know, Blaine is a sexist gay a little bit.
Tad.
This is the
Tad.
current TikTok discourse that people say white gay men. It's really like all cis gay men, but people don't feel comfortable implying that people can be problematic if they're not white. But that white gay men are like sexist. And I'm like, yeah, I figured that out when I was like 15. Like that a lot of men, when they don't have a need for women, or like women aren't serving a purpose, they're gonna be dicks to them because that's all.
But all the
women are to some
Warblers,
men.
they have women in their lives. They all have girlfriends.
They
Except
all have girlfriends.
they're all
Oh,
gay.
Yeah.
But,
That was such a
like,
good joke.
Look, they're like, we all have girlfriends, and then but the way they said it was very flamboyant.
Yeah, but it's
Yep.
like it's like, oh, is this like a postmodernist gay thing that they're coming up with? Like, are all the gay kids postmodernists except for Kurt and Blaine?
Well,
They're the trad gays.
I'm trying to get because they're talking about like a girl in the Warblers. Well, imagine the sexual tension, and Blaine's like, "Aren't you all gay?" And I'm like, I mean, the audacity to tell a room of like 20 teenagers that you assume they're all
single
gay.
one. Yeah.
Like not even a bisexual to be found.
Well, we don't exist except for Bisexual Awareness
Yeah.
Day.
Well,
Yep,
and Kurt
yep.
says
Yeah,
they,
just one day.
yeah. And as Kurt says, they don't exist.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
just a, yeah.
It's just
so-
a phase.
It's just a phase.
That sounds too real. Too real.
And then yeah, so then there's one who keeps being like, imagine a skunk, a squirrel.
Yeah,
And
this guy's
I'm
was like,
pro squirrels on the Warblers.
Me
No,
too.
no question.
just like
like
Absolutely.
Squirrel
Or
Nutkin from the
chipmunks.
Beatrix Potter. He'd be
Yeah,
great.
chipmunks can sing.
yeah.
Squirrels
seen-
probably can sing
Mhm.
better.
My
I
mother
mean,
has tamed a squirrel who lives in her backyard. Her name is Buttercup. She loves peanuts, and she was actually
Aw.
just there for the
Oh my-
birthday party today. We got a Buttercup appearance.
did
Buttercup
she
in the
play
Warblers.
kickball?
No, my mom's worried because she's a little skinny. She was like, I gotta get her some more peanuts. She has one of those picnic tables, you know, where the corn cob goes
Yeah.
up right on the picnic table. It's like they're like sitting at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Terry is on it. She's gonna fatten up Buttercup for winter. And then
Terry's
she
a
can join the
Disney
Warblers.
princess.
I mean, genuinely, but we need that.
Yeah. Honestly, I want a movie about Buttercup.
Yes.
She comes when called.
Yeah. Can
Amazing.
Buttercup be president?
Yes, Buttercup for president.
think that's
write
right.
it in. Write it down on your ballots.
I'm actually going to be absentee voting this year, and as I understand it, you can vote as many times as you want when you're voting absentee, like
Yes.
through the mail.
Yeah.
So if I legally do like 350 million votes for Buttercup, legally she is the president.
Legally.
Yeah.
Legally.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I work in politics.
Yes. So So they're like, we can't. And I do like, because there's always that person who like, gay married, what's next? Sex with ducks, like that kind of whole like discourse,
Yes. It's like it's always a jump to bestiality, and it's like this guy is making a pseudo bestiality argument, but just by including animals, like, oh, we're gonna have sexual tension with the animals if we bring them in too.
I mean, we know about Blaine and birds and puppets. So they bring him. He's like, the leader is like, why don't we just see if she can even sing?
Great point. Excellent point.
Yeah, he later doesn't seem to be that great, but at first I'm like, okay, like it makes sense. And then he says like, you have to audition, and she's kind of like prickly about it, but I'm like, it makes sense. Like,
I feel like all of the warblers have to audition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the line that he tells her right then was, can you just put your pride aside for 1 minute in audition? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Did you really just say this to this person?
That's a serious microaggression.
This is actually Glee kind of deconstructing their typical white knight narrative and invoking it straight in other ways.
Right.
But the fact that like she's not just gaga over Blaine doing this for her, like, oh my God, thank you. She's like, yeah, like basic human rights.
Yeah.
And so
God forbid you have pride in the fact that you're a human.
Yeah. And also like clearly that like she's facing the fact that like they are specifically making her audition because she's a girl, not because they want to see if she's talented. Like that's the argument, is because she's a girl.
Yeah.
It's just like,
well, and Blaine is at the dinner and he's talking about it. They're like, you should, everyone else is like, why is this a discussion? Like, just let her audition. Like, you want to be on the right side of history, Blaine says the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. Second time in the series. This is what I mean by Obama-ness off the charts, Obama era. Because like that quote was super big and it's a great quote, but it also implies that like justice just happens without work, which is not what Martin Luther King was like at all. He put in the work to make justice happen, but it's very much like this kind of neoliberal idea that like we're just going to get more progressive as time goes on, and that's not how anything works. So very, very I was so annoyed. I'm like, you can't use that quote twice. Like use a different quote. But they can
and they did.
They can and they did. But I'm complaining. So they let her audition and she's just going like, okay. And then he takes her to Rachel for some pointers.
And I don't know why, because he will eventually be her coach if she gets on this team.
Give her pointers?
Right?
Rachel's a legend. A legend.
Oh my God.
Well, and this is crazy because Samantha Ware talked about glares and someone being mean to them. So like constant hostility leading up to the I will shit in your wig. So
did you provide background? Not to bring your podcast. Can you refresh like just some context on this? You said shit in your wig 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the official context of when Leah Michelle said to Samantha Ware, I will shit in your wig.
Okay, Samantha Ware is Jane.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, to flash back to, you can listen back to the Gleeboot episodes that I think we were in season 3, maybe in June 2020, maybe 2 or 3. But this is right time when Leah Michelle was dropped as a HelloFresh representative. But this is so Leah Michelle tweets about BLM, right? And then Samantha Ware is like, it's giving Gal Gadot Imagine. Not exactly. But she says, like, I experienced multiple hostile microaggressions from you, including you saying you would shit in my wig. Like, you don't act like Black Lives Matter. You made my first job in Hollywood a living hell. And who retweets it, who reshares it?
Amber
Riley, who plays Mercedes, and Alex Newell, who plays Unique, the 2 other Black leads. And a lot of other cast members kind of were agreeing, Heather Morris, who plays Brittany, who seems to be kind of the neutral party in all these Glee debates, said, and I don't fault her for the way she said, I think people are assuming she's a racist. And I think it's fair to say what happens when you assume, but she says there was a lot of hostility and bad behavior on set that we shouldn't have allowed to happen. So it might be a step too far to just say, oh, she's a racist, but she definitely did racisms. She did microaggressions. She used race as a weapon against people. So I don't think she doesn't think Black people should have the right to vote or something, but maybe, but I don't think so. I think she's just she's a mean, or at least at that time, and she hasn't seemed to apologize fully for it. At that time, she was a mean, horrible person who wasn't above using race to do her horribleness. Yes, Corey died during that time, but some people say it happened before. People say there was stuff with her and Diana Agron. There was definitely stuff with her and Naya Rivera. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of the female leads she was very competitive with. And yeah, it's just a lot of extras have referred to her calling them cockroaches and being terrible to them. So gross. Yes, I do hope she's grown. I'm not saying yes, Leah Michele couldn't have possibly grown. She's always and will always be this terrible. When she was cast as Fanny Bryce, Samantha Ware tweeted, "Yes, Broadway upholds whiteness," and I have not received an apology. And maybe she has changed her behavior, but we don't know. She's not made an attempt to repair these relationships. So that's why people say, oh, maybe she has put in the work and changed. And she probably has tried, but she hasn't really tried to make up specifically those relationships. And so she was openly hostile to Samantha Ware during this filming.
This is Samantha Ware's first episode, so it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah, and it's very early in her career too. And also I was just reviewing the Variety article about it. Basically that she tried to speak up about it and people were like, that's just Leah Michele. So yikes.
Yeah. So that's so funny because not funny, but it's funny in the way that in this scene, Jane's like, why are you helping me? We're opposite teams. And she's like, I'm a woman first. I support women. And it's that has never been Rachel Berry. I'm sorry.
No.
Mm-mm.
And
Rachel Berry has always been, I'm competing against every woman near me.
And also it feels I don't know, maybe this is just me bringing the context from the real life, but this also feels racially coded in that this young Black woman needs help from this white woman. It just feels very weird.
Yeah,
it's
it is. There's no. Why also does she think that Rachel is a legend? Why is that a thing?
She
Blaine
won nationals once, right?
Yeah,
one time. Doesn't seem super legendary to me.
No,
it's a high school in Ohio. It doesn't take much.
But
to be every nation, or not every nation, every other high school in the nation.
She also she's a girl who goes to Dalton because she wants to be at Dalton because she thinks Dalton is the best. Why would she think Leah Michele is the best of everything, especially since her recent the
show
the calamity in Hollywood.
If anyone can probably be that person for her, it's going to be Blaine, because that would be her coach. And he actually had won a lot of competitions and he's coaching an actual successful team that is still around and has been successful for a really long time.
And it wouldn't I think it would be less racially coded in a way because there's a logic, IRL logic of he's the coach.
Yes,
and exactly. He's helping her. And the thing is, because also Rachel never needed help like that. Rachel always just had it.
Yeah.
And I necessarily even think that Jane thinks that Rachel's a legend. I would feel like she hardly even knows her, but Blaine was like, this is Rachel, she's a legend. And Jane was like, oh my God, and she's gonna help me.
Yeah. And it's but what was her problem? Was she nervous about auditioning? Oh, this is my first time ever singing in front of people.
No problem.
Exactly. I was so why does she need to go see Rachel?
Pick a song.
They're trying
Yeah,
to
I
give
guess.
finally they're trying to give Rachel character development. Essentially,
They're trying to give her a teacher moment.
Yeah, they waited 5 seasons. They're like, fuck, we need to develop our protagonist.
Yeah.
And then so now she's a girl boss. She's feminist. She supports other women. But the thing is, you see the tension. It doesn't seem genuine. It doesn't, because honestly, I don't know. You know, I'm not a woman, but I feel like in my mind, if I want to show like women supporting women, it's just them doing it. They're not like, I'm here to support you because you're a woman. It's just like, hey, yeah, I'll help. You know, like it's exciting time for you. Like I'm so happy for everything you're gonna get to experience. You know, like not just like it just felt so fake and performative, and you felt the tension between these two actresses. And then she like pulls out she's like, give me your iPod or whatever. I'm like, I did not give my technology to adults. And then like, do not be looking at my search history. And then
also the fact that she could just like start scrolling on it, I was like, she would have been like, what's your password?
What's your password? I see Baby Shark is the most played song. So maybe that's what you're really feeling.
Yes, that's your audition.
Which honestly, Glee was moments away. Like Glee would do Baby Shark.
Well, yeah, they did what the Fox say. So yeah, of course.
And Friday. Yeah.
Yes.
So she's like, Janelle Monáe's Tightrope. It sounds like we have our song. And put your head up and sit up straight, whatever bullshit advice.
Make eye contact with the audience. And
which you can't
100
do.
of them.
You can't do that.
This is all like assuming that like she's never performed before.
It was very the word that I can't remember where you're like, yes, condescending. That is exactly it. I was gonna say talking down to someone. And that is it.
But she doesn't seem like she has been condescended. She like accepts it. And that's what's really weird to me is like Blaine kidnapped her from her school and took her 2.5 hours to Lima.
She's like, I just
from Columbus.
Yeah, sure, I'll put my head up. Take me home.
Yeah,
it was just like that. It was very bad writing because it would not happen that way.
Well, and again, Hannah just points to use Google Maps, Ryan energy of like the way they treat Dalton as if it is just like a town over or it's in the same town.
They're gonna do it again because that's what Blaine did, and he transferred because spoiler alert, she transfers, and I'm like, where does her family live?
Yeah, it just
how is she gonna get to school 2 hours away?
It makes logical sense that you would have a public and a private school in like the same town.
Exactly. Just put it in the same fucking town. Or it's like a town over, like, oh yeah, that's like East Lima. Even if it's you know, like not real, like the Dalton's in East Lima. Cool.
Yeah.
It's like 20 minutes away.
Do you think that they think that like rural areas only have one school? I mean, Lima, Ohio, not being even that super rural.
Right.
Do you think they only have
zero research went into this show?
Never underestimate the inability of Californians to understand what goes on anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, really.
Man.
Well, I mean, also if you think about it, okay, so like for you guys to go like 4 miles, it could take you 3 hours in LA, but in Ohio, it takes you 10 minutes. You know, and they just don't understand that concept. So they think something that is actually 2 hours away on a map, they're like, oh, that won't take that long. It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, you know,
they think Google already adds in the LA traffic to the time, but it's just going
Google
down an Ohio highway.
LA traffic. Yeah.
We had this discussion on my last episode too, because Sam was going to take Quinn to Color Me Mine, and you guys were like, "Where's the nearest Color Me Mine?" And I was like, "Well, let me tell you,
I love
Dublin, 2 hours away."
So yeah, they are like, so then Jane auditions with Tightrope. Everyone's super into it, even the squirrel guy. They're all dancing around, and then the captain or whatever comes up and is kind of like stern. She finishes the song and they handshake, and it's like great. But then they decide that we're a brotherhood and we're gonna keep it our little homoerotic brotherhood.
I mean, like she's waiting outside and looks super like pumped, like hopeful. Like obviously she killed it in there because she did, so they would give her a spot. And they don't.
Honestly, it's, you know, I'm gonna expose men a little bit in that maybe it's just my personal experience, but every most times when I'm in an all male space, whether it's sports teams, there's like altar boys, a little gay. Now, I'm not saying every guy is gay. I'm just saying there's like a little bit of that energy to all male spaces, and that's fine. It's not a problem.
Right.
But I'm just saying when people like really freak out that now a woman is entering, the main thing that is leaving the chat, the main two things that leave the chat when a woman enters is super overt misogyny and gayness. Well, like that homoerotic energy. So that's what the Warblers don't want to lose.
That's interesting. I mean, they got a lot of that energy going around. But I also don't understand. I mean, I do, but I don't. And I think maybe like at this point, I was like, okay, I understand she's disappointed, but why would she want to be in a group that clearly doesn't want her because she's a woman? But then also, like, we were going back and saying, progress happens when people fight against those ideals. So I also get that. But also, like, not that I feel like I know this character because I don't really know her. We just met her. But, like, I feel like, yeah, go somewhere else where you will actually be wanted and not have to, like, constantly worry that people are going to be talking about you behind your back.
And
I mean, that's literally part of the conversation that she has with Blaine.
Yeah.
Well, which maybe this is just a Catholic school thing, but in my mind, when there's an all-male school, there's usually an equivalent all-female school.
Right. But they're not Catholic affiliated. I think
No.
I think maybe that is maybe just like a Catholic thing, so that, like, obviously, you want to keep Jesus and the 12 apostles apart for all the opposite sexes, but, like, that's probably the reason why they have the brother sister schools.
But not only that, but, like, when you're in a high school, for any male activity, there's going to be the equivalent female activity.
Not always. Title IX, they have a very specific, like, ratio that they have to meet. But now that she's the only woman there at this school, I have no idea how that would affect
that's why,
exactly.
So that's a good point. But
how are all gender schools legal without the equivalent? Because I'm very aware of, like, the equivalency of, like, Title IX, because I remember them teaching us about that with the sports teams in college, and how, like, hey, if we added a football team, we'd have to add a ton of women's sports too, like, to, like, make up for all that. Like, just like how that works, which I think that's it makes sense, like how that they're trying to give people equal opportunities. So I never really thought of it until this point, like, how do all gender schools without an equivalent work?
Well, honestly, I think in this case, like, realistically, they would have to have a group of girls join.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is,
not
like,
just one.
Wouldn't be able to get anywhere because she's the only girl, which is a shame. But also, it's like, but then if she says she wanted to go to Dalton because of the academic excellence,
but then
she goes to a school where it's supposedly equal, but there's clearly an active caning policy, which is, like, could get very, like, racially
but she's
racist.
She's only going there for the arts.
Right. So it's like they don't have arts. They're literally an anti-art school.
Yeah.
Her decision makes sense, but doesn't make sense based on her first reason why she goes to Dalton. Yeah. So it's like Ryan just wanted to, Mr. Murphy just wanted to, like, insert, like, this little, like, oh, we're gonna push for women, Title IX, whatever it is, just to have that, and then completely get rid of it.
Well, because Blaine is like, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna like,
she's like, please don't.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna threaten to quit. Yeah, he's doing the white savior, and she's like, why would you threaten to quit so I can join a club where no one wants me and I'll be fighting for every airtime?
It was absolutely ridiculous. If someone, I guarantee she left because he did that. Because when you have something like that hanging over your head, like, for instance,
if Blaine quit and then they all hated her,
something like that is not good. That's why you don't do things specifically for your significant other. Like, you don't
transfer schools.
Exactly. Like, just like it's the same sort of logic. Like, it's not an equivalent exchange, and then people get this an R word and I can't remember
Resentment.
That's it.
Mhm.
Thanks, Cullen. Reading my mind today.
I love
Yeah.
this like deeply nuanced conversation about gender. I didn't think of any of this because I could not move past Blaine's outfit of the I wrote it down: plaid shirt, brown tweed jacket, mustard yellow pants, and orange and brown patterned bow tie, because he absolutely looked like Gonzo from A Muppet Christmas Carol. And it was so bad.
So mean.
I could not see anything else.
That's accurate though. That is what Gonzo like was.
Mark and I were Gonzo and Rizzo for Halloween 2 years ago, so I have put together a Gonzo Halloween costume, and it was Blaine's outfit in this episode.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
knows?
this whole thing is just dumb because it doesn't end up having really, well, I'm assuming it's not going to really have any effect because they're introducing new characters that frankly I don't give a fuck about, only because this is the last season. I know it's ending, like, no offense to Jane, but like, why would I get invested in your story when it's literally going to be 11 more episodes?
Yeah. You know, Jane's story would have made sense in season 4 instead of a Marley if she wanted to transfer to this school that just won nationals and had all these big, had a really, like, and so that's the thing. I think this is a common thing, and I don't know if I 100% agree with this take, but a lot of people say the season 6 newbies are what the season 4 newbies should have been, because the season 6 newbies are their own characters and they aren't just like rehashes.
Yes.
Because
tropes. Roderick, like, there hasn't really been a Roderick on Glee. That's interesting. There really hasn't been a Jane on Glee.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but also
Roderick is a Black man to sing a song performed and written by a Black man, but they didn't have one, so they had to do Roderick. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No.
I mean,
Black male representation in things targeted at young people in the fantasy genre, or just men of color in general, in those, it's like actually pretty scarce. It's often white men and women of color. Because
also, like, think about Jake. Like, like, he was a playboy, and then he was like going straight for a while, and like
he was a playboy again.
Yeah, because the story demanded it, or the writers demanded it.
Has there ever been a Black male Disney lead? The men of color leads are
Disney
Aladdin,
lead.
The guy from Brother Bear, Kenai.
Both voiced by white men, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
The guy from Hero from Big Hero 6. And love interest, you have Shang and Mulan, you have Naveen in Prince and the Frog, who kept purposely ambiguous.
Yeah, I was like,
I think
Brazilian?
he's kind of South. I think there's some Indianness.
Okay.
But so it's just like, I was just thinking, because in the current season that just ended of High School Musical, the series, they introduced like a Black male character who can sing, and like he was an interesting character, and it just made you realize how actually rare that is in the genre of both musical, like young adult, and like fantasy, like those genres. And that's a little upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just remember when I was in grad school with the RAs I supervised, one of the white girls always wanted to call an Afro-Latino man a cop because he took his job seriously. And I just want to be like, one of you is more likely to have a positive experience with cops than the other, no matter how socially liberal you're going to be. So,
oof.
That's a lot to unpack. And sorry if either of you are listening. But I don't think you are. But I don't want to cut.
So basically I want to care about these characters because, like you said, they're new. Like, this isn't what we got with Marley, etc. Like, but also I'm like, the show is so close to ending.
11 episodes left.
I'm like, why do I care? Like, I'm just trying to get to the end with the characters that I know from season 1, frankly.
Well, did Jane exist to drum up drama between like Blaine and Rachel? Like, is that kind of the purpose of the series?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, and then that's also problematic in itself too.
Yeah, because if she had actually made a logical decision on which school to go to, she probably would have chosen like wherever Will is teaching, because they have an actual program
and
for
people
singing,
in
which is what she wants to
Ohio
do.
can travel anywhere in Ohio.
Well,
Yes.
Carmel in Ohio is closer to Akron,
No.
and that's gonna be like four
Will's in
hours
Parma?
away. No, it's called Carmel. I don't think it's a real thing, but it's around Akron.
No, that is
No.
a real thing. They have a high
Is it?
school. Yeah,
Yeah.
Carmel High School is a thing. Yeah.
Well,
My
that's
sister
where-
lives in
that's where they are.
so I can say that.
Yeah.
Okay,
She'll
cool.
kill me if I'm
So
wrong.
yeah, it's still like from Lima.
No, I outed my location again. Can you please bleep?
Yes, I will. I will go through and bleep it. Promise.
Please. Okay.
Um,
Stop me.
high school graduate Alyssa.
Full-time remote, always in my house, working. Hang.
Come find me and let's talk about Glee. Let's look at 2 specific episodes of Glee.
Find through this window and let's talk. God.
So Blaine's upset that she switches, and I'm like, wouldn't you just respect? Because like Rachel's just like, she transferred.
Listen,
like
she has a much better reason, no offense to Blaine, to switch schools than he did.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
he's like, you stole her. And it's like, for once, like Rachel is in the right. Like Rachel's like,
Yeah,
she
she
wanted
is.
to come here. And Blaine's just being irrational. And then Kurt says something about Karofsky, I think. And Blaine is like, Blaine says Kurt did it to get back at him for being with Karofsky.
He pretty much goes off the deep end.
Which, once again, we're
Kurt
seeing
has nothing to do with this decision.
No, nothing.
Not
We're
even
seeing-
Rachel, but
dark Blaine. We're seeing Blaine from season 5 Tested. Like that
Ooh.
really selfish, unhinged Blaine that like
Mhm.
most of the time Blaine is unhinged still, but like kind of like fun and cute and nice. And then
is
everyone's
that
all
the
there
one where
like,
he's eating ice cream all the time?
yeah, where he's like gaining weight as in they're having him wear
Yeah.
baggy clothing. And he's like, I liked when you were weak and needed me. Like that really like,
Right. Okay.
he suddenly becomes so self-aware to like a sociopathic level of like, oh God. Yeah, it's just so petty. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess you are only like 19, but still. So whatever.
And poor Roderick is there for the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm just gonna leave.
And
Yeah,
they all
you know
say no.
I don't want to be in this club anymore.
And then Madison and whatever join, Mason and Madison. They all there's another plot. Okay. Sue hates that the Glee Club is back. How's she gonna get back at them? Postmodern gay. Earlier, Kurt comes in, is talking to postmodern gay Spencer, and he's like, Spencer's like, I don't like
Comes into the
these-
locker room. Let's clarify. Comes into the locker room
Yep.
where
Yeah.
children are getting dressed.
Yep.
Can continue.
And there he's like, everyone's just gonna see you as gay. Like no one will ever not see you as gay. And Spencer's like, that's not my entire personality. I don't like Drag Race and like all this stuff, and I don't like show tunes. And the thing is like that this is a rare Glee conversation where I kind of see both sides point.
Mm.
Where almost more Spencer's, as much as I like fucking hate this character, like as much as he's an asshole, he does have a point where like he doesn't just have to do traditionally gay things,
Yeah,
and that maybe his classmates don't see him as gay first.
because that's more about masculinity than it is about gayness.
And
Yeah,
to-
especially because specifically the thing that Kurt wants him for is singing, which is not like a gay thing.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like the things that we code as gay are just like things that are quote unquote aren't as masculine. So it's like,
and it maybe it makes sense if Spencer wants to sing, but he would feel embarrassed just about the act of singing. But that's
We
we've already
literally
been
don't
there.
even-
We've been there.
We don't even know if he can sing.
He sings in the final number.
I don't think he can sing. I
Not in
heard
this-
it,
in
not
this
impressed.
In this conversation, we have no idea
Yeah,
that
they're
he can
just,
sing or
like,
not.
There's like, you're a gay,
They just
join the
want-
gay club.
Yeah, they just want
Yeah.
bodies on the stage, and they preferably want gay and female bodies.
And so he's like, yeah, he's talking to, and Kurt's like, like I was the kicker, right? He's like, and he's like,
Transformative.
Transformative for this high school.
But Kurt was kind of transformative for this high school. He did push a lot of boundaries, but Spencer's like, we don't need to do that anymore. And Kurt's like, we paved the way. And he's like, Modern Family paved the way, which is so meta.
He's like, I'm like, you're on our shoulders kind of thing. And it's like, sure, yeah, but also like, there are definitely but also what doesn't make sense is like, Kurt has only been out of high school for 2 years.
Yeah.
Modern Family has been on since like 2008. Like, so one could say then that Modern Family has been paving the way before Kurt got to high school.
So, okay, here's the thing. So Kurt is right in that, you know, now the older generations of queer people have allowed queer people to have the life that we have now. Do we owe them anything? Do we owe them respect? Yeah. Do we owe them joining a Glee club? No.
Especially if you have no interest in being in Glee club.
Yeah. Like if he just wants to play sports and like that's not his thing, I get it. Because I've been in spaces where people are trying so hard to like perform gayness and all they want to talk about is Drag Race and like Real Housewives, and that's not me and that's not interesting to me, and I'm not having a great time. So like even though I'm not like I'm masked up, like that's why I fucking hate Spencer, but like he has the right to like just do the things he wants to do.
But he clocks Kurt like very quickly, like, no, I see what you're doing, but that's not who I am. Like I happen to be gay, but I also am just doing my own thing.
He's
so
like,
it's like
2 guys tried to beat me up and I beat them up or whatever. And like
no, he didn't. First off, he got those little pencil arms, and there's that gym in the locker room that he sits down and starts benching in the middle of the conversation. And he apparently, no sweat, we paused, we counted. There are 205 pounds on that bench. He was not casually with those little tiny pencil arms benching 205 while having this conversation with Kurt.
Absolutely not. You're absolutely right.
That's all. Thank you. I am right. Moving on.
Yeah, so it's like I get it, but Spencer should be like Spencer's right in that, you know, by 2015, I think it was less likely for people just to be like blatantly hate you for being gay, you know, especially high schoolers. Right. Like maybe they wouldn't get it or something, but they're just going, okay, whatever, you know.
Well, especially in this school where like Kurt and other people like Unique had made pretty big strides in trying to change things, but also if you think about it, Sue is the principal of the school. So how are those two things existing in the same place?
Well,
That's what I don't understand.
Well, Spencer is thin, white, able-bodied.
True.
Yeah.
So I don't think Sue at this point has a problem.
Also, probably an integral part of the football team.
Yeah. Spencer has the same energy as that TikTok of the gay guy talking about why he votes Republican. So that's... Yeah, so Spencer's annoying, but he has a point because Kurt's like, you're gay first. Like, you're gay first, a person later. You know, like, everyone will just see you as gay. And Spencer's like, unlike you, being gay isn't my whole personality. And, like, as Alyssa's boyfriend said, oh, that guy's gay. You know, like, with Kurt, like, that's his whole personality. And that's part of the error or the way gay characters were written at that time. Yeah. You know? But, like, Spencer doesn't have to do that. And he can make different choices. But he also is right that like being gay, like you can't mask away the gayness.
It's interesting that Ryan Murphy even wrote a character this complex, like after writing Kurt, who in season 1, like his whole thing was being gay. And then like 6 seasons later, he introduces like a character with more dimension like this. Like, I don't want to give him props. I'm not going to go that far. I'll just use the word interesting.
But it is it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's only a foil to Kurt.
Right. Yeah. He exists purely to be a foil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it is interesting because Kurt's essentially having a conversation. Oh, Glee made it okay to be gay, and he's like, no, it was Modern Family, which I get that a lot from people. But I'm on Team Glee in this one. I think Glee did more because I think yes, young kids were watching Modern Family, but I think they were internalizing more Glee.
But they're also going to
work together. Like
they're going to relate more to Kurt than they are to I
Cam and
remember.
Mitch.
Yeah, Cam and Mitch. There are adults in careers who have a child, but like Kurt is like just trying to figure out this whole thing called life.
Yeah.
You know, he's a teenager. So
can we then propose that Glee did for a younger generation what Modern Family did for an older generation?
I think that could be accurate. I think because Modern Family was showing how gays can fit into a capitalist, semi-heteronormative family structure.
They were normalizing it for people. Like basically, like here are some gay people in your living room on TV.
And Glee was more edgy, and that appealed to younger people because not only were they going, Glee was more like, I think there's definitely more homophobia plot lines in Glee.
Yes.
Probably.
Which I'm not saying Modern Family needs to do a lot of homophobia episodes, but you know, Glee was also a drama. It's an hour-long show. It's going to tackle that stuff more. So I think they're both right. But I do think, because people always say, "Oh, well, Modern Family," and I'm like, I do think you're underselling. People do undersell the impact Glee had.
Because I 100% agree.
We look back and it's cringy, but like, how it affected, like, I don't think I was fully aware of gay people existing until Kurt and Glee, you know, like, and that got people talking about it, you know, it like, you know, as a Midwestern kid, I wasn't in California and New York seeing these gay couples, like, you know, or being exposed to any media where gay people were allowed to be, or were in it, because like my parents wouldn't be bringing those movies in, but if it's now on the TV in prime time and they don't know that it's coming, that's not the premise. Like, huge, you know. So it's people undersell Glee's impact. As much as I've like made a mini career, it's not a career, I'm not getting paid, of roasting Glee. Like, I do think
this is my job.
We have to give it props for that, and so I do think that added another layer to the Kurt Spencer.
The things that I just got in this conversation is I graduated high school in 2012, and I went to the coronation ceremony for my little brother. And one of the girls on homecoming for it was escorted by another girl. And I was talking to my friends and I was like, never in 2012, never. No. And there's so many people. I'm like, remember when, because there's all these like kids in high school who are like open and out. And I was talking to my friends and I was like, remember when you had to like wait to graduate high school to be gay? Like you had to put a stopper on it. And it's so different it's literally been 10 years. Like everything is so different. So especially that line with like Santana had sex with a Latina lesbian. I was like, was that still cringy? I feel like we made very fast progress.
It did. A lot has changed in those 10 years. Yeah. You know, it's so different from when we were in high school. And I think Glee's commenting on that. But I mean, also, like, is a character like Spencer really watching Modern Family and connecting with
absolutely
Mitch?
Not.
That's what I have a problem with. I was like, you're just like weirdly, like, obviously it's meta, but it's like weirdly simplifying this conversation, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, because professional athletes only started coming out as gay in like the past couple of years.
Yeah,
I don't think that was even common in 2015.
Yeah, same thing with country singers. I think like it was like one of the first country singers like literally like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like coming out and like being proud and stuff. So it's like there are certain subsets of pop culture that still haven't progressed.
Yeah.
And like what's weird, I think that's also something interesting to point out is that like he is a football player, and I think like mainstream players sort of being open about their sexuality has been sort of a recent thing.
Yeah, because football is one of the least gay sports. I'm just gonna aesthetically.
Yeah, I mean they tackle each other to the ground.
Yeah. No, I mean there is a lot of gayness in football,
pants.
but you wear a lot more layers though in football than in other sports.
Yeah.
Football, I'm like, it is very homoerotic, but in my mind, it's also a very straight sport. And I could see, even in 2015 in Ohio, being a football player would actually be difficult because you're in a situation where you are undressing, and that particular brand that's associated with football would be particularly hostile to that.
Right.
As opposed to like soccer, I think sometimes you had locker rooms, but usually we just showed up to the field in our uniform, you know, like, yeah. Also, anything European is a little gay. Legally Blonde said it. So yeah, that's really Spencer. He sings a little bit they sing home at the end. They're like, it's time for homecoming. They're driving
glossing over the Tom Brady.
Oh, flashlight.
We're not even talking about that?
We have to, because this
Oh my God.
this literal principal offers one of her students a sex toy, which I'm pretty sure is a crime.
Yep.
She writes in her journal
Grooming.
she needs a postmodern gay to take down the Glee club because she hates that it's back. And Spencer's like, I can't be bought, because she's like, oh, I can bribe Coach Beast to make you the football coach or whatever. And he's like, or the football quarterback. He's like, I can't be bought, and you're gonna have to do better than that. So that, I think that was supposed to be his save the cat moment.
Again,
I'm
I
like,
don't care about him. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
He's the least interesting of the new ones. Yeah.
Our entire conversation about how like interesting his character is kind of nullified by the fact that he's actually not
Like, as a
interesting.
character, he's not interesting, but the idea of his character could be interesting.
Yes,
But
exactly.
At the end of the day, he's just another white football player who they're trying to convince to join Glee Club, which they did Finn,
Yeah.
Sam, now Spencer.
Yeah.
And there was Ryder in the middle too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ryder was a football player.
It's like, do
What's
they
his
know
name?
other sports exist? Or they're just like, we bought these football uniforms in bulk.
Yeah, no, they don't have basketball. They don't have. Yeah,
Because
they don't
Finn
have
played
soccer.
basketball
They don't
and
have
Jake
bowling,
did.
golf.
Yeah.
It's cheerleading.
And cheerleading.
This Ohio. There's only football
They
and
do have
cheerleading.
cheerleading.
Yeah, so there you go. Title IX approved.
So they
1-1.
they get, it's a football game. He doesn't want the custom molded Tom Brady flashlight, which like you know what? I think you don't get that for anyone who's not from Boston. A man in Boston, regardless of sexuality, that'd be a hit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like
too miscalculated.
Who on the Browns would have been not even the Browns. It would have had to been the Colts. Peyton Manning.
I know who that is.
Yeah,
I just want to clarify.
It would have to
it's
be
shaped
Indiana
like
because the Browns.
it's shaped like Tom Brady's like butthole. Like that's
It has
what
to
we're
be.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Tom Brady willingly give a cast?
Maybe
He
not
would.
willingly.
He would. I think Tom Brady would. I mean, doesn't he kiss his kids on the mouth? He's a little weird.
Those are two very separate things, Colin. I'm sorry.
Yes, they're very separate things.
But
Mark informed me of yesterday of a world I didn't know. Apparently, there are pornographic stars, porn stars, if you will, who make and sell custom fleshlights that are supposedly like shaped like. I didn't know about this.
And
but he said they're all fake. Like they're all just the same. People have actually like done this math, and they all.
Because how much? I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, because how different
do that
can
with
an
dildos,
asshole
too.
be?
This is all news to me. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but that was what was, I think, it was just so weird because Tom Brady, I think it's because he was just like the biggest star at the time.
Well, he's
Like,
Yeah.
it was like, but like, why? I don't think this kid
Man's
would be
hot.
No, and he was old at this point. I think he may have been retired at this point.
I mean,
retired
Tom
a while
Brady's
ago.
still. I'm not like into Tom Brady. I think he still fits conventional attractiveness.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And Peyton Manning is, I think, conventionally attractive, but he's not like Tom Brady hot.
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady can be hot looking.
He has the
Especially
very-
when he
Name a third.
walks it. What?
Name a third football player.
Eli Manning.
I don't know if I can.
Oh my
I
God,
can
what's
do
his name? Tiki Barber. You're welcome. I know lots of football player names. Oh, Tiki Barber has been very far. The Giants player.
Oh gosh.
Are you so surprised that your friend is so like?
I don't know. Like, who told you that?
I just
there's the one on the Saints.
Brett, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. Yeah.
Brett Favre.
Brett.
He does Levi's commercials.
I regret asking.
Jeans.
I'm getting burdened with knowledge right
I
now.
think
that I
there's-
don't want.
I think there's too
Gronkowski.
many football players.
We need a new plague.
Just
Specifically for
cancel
football.
thing. I was talking with my uncles and I had an unpopular opinion, but I was like, I know football is very culturally important to this country, but I would shed no tears if it stopped being a thing.
Oh,
Like I think
Absolutely.
it's the worst sport. Like
I still don't fully
I think
get it.
baseball is
Baseball's pretty bad. I said it.
Baseball
I was like,
is
maybe
not fun to
baseball.
watch in person or
on
TV. It's just not fun.
All right. So they sing home at the end. They get on the sorry, after a sports tangent about ending football. They get on they drive the golf cart through the school hallway. I have been dragged on a golf cart before. Golf cart safety is important. Caddy, my first 18 holes, bleeding out my knees, shorts caked in blood. That's how I learned the rich don't care. I was not tipped well.
Oh.
I was 15.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's an abuse of child labor laws.
Yeah, well, because it was being a golf caddy is one of the few jobs you can get, when you're underage, and they can because
but
of
the
tips.
fact that you were literally essentially abused.
I mean, yeah, and you could be paid under minimum wage because you got tips.
Well, I always hated
Country
that
is
system.
so fucked.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they sing home. They dance around. Blaine and Krosky, I guess they did both graduate from here, sort of, or go there. They're there watching the fireworks. Kurt and Rachel share a little moment.
Why would
Fireworks.
Krosky want to be there?
Yeah, fireworks at a high school homecoming.
What's the budget for this?
But also, why would Krosky want to be there? That was the school he left because he was bullying Kurt.
Oh.
Yeah. But I guess
is that why he left?
Yeah.
He was forced to leave, and then he got outed,
at his
and
other
then he
school.
left. Well, no, didn't he get outed at McKinley and then he left?
Yeah.
He was outed at the other school.
Okay, because I
In
thought
the
that
peanut butter show circle.
Triggered.
Yeah. But I guess it's Blaine's alma mater, sort of. Yeah. I mean, literally, he did graduate from there. So they everyone's there. They're dancing around the new directions, the new directions, the new directions. Have little flower things that banners or.
There are 4 of them now.
Yeah.
Yes,
and I only have confirmed 2 out of 4 of their names.
And Spencer sings, and then Kurt, Sam, and Artie peek around the corner because they're the guys. So I guess at least they have a legal ability to be in this locker room. Also, Mike Chang didn't show up. He was busy.
He has a life.
He has a life. Tina is spending time with Artie. Don't like it.
Nope.
Tina deserves better. Also, I think Kevin McHale is one of the celebrity guests on the current Celebrity Drag Race.
And he's in the final 4.
I saw the performance. I was happened to be with friends who were watching because I didn't usually watch it. And I was like, oh, that's Kevin McHale. Right off the bat, I was like, because it's
spoilers, Cullen.
Yeah, spoilers for Drag Race on Gleeboot.
Secret. So if you're one of the 10 people who watches Secret Celebrity Drag Race, you're gonna want to skip. Yeah.
So they so that's the end of the episode. We have a new Glee club.
Yay.
And I only know 2 of their names.
The evil has not yet been defeated.
They need 12. They need 12.
Well, do they? Because some seasons they don't.
Well, some seasons they just grab random cheerleaders.
And what's her name?
And Joe.
What's his name? Yeah, Joe. Is that it? Yeah, Joe Hart. Disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't even know if they graduated. They probably transferred schools.
Maybe they're same as Finn. They died.
Oh,
and then
no,
they're still haunting the choir room though.
Okay.
They're haunting the set of the Glee project.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess that takes us to Tina time.
Oh, I missed it.
We actually got to
I wasn't ready.
We got to do Tina time. Tina had
I counted 5.
5. Oh my gosh, same count. 5 lines for Tina.
Woohoo!
I was so happy to have her back. She was spitting truth the whole time.
She's their meta, she's their meta voice.
It's so refreshing.
She went from the messy bitch to now she's the salty bitch. She's there.
Yeah.
She knows this choir room is unjust. She knows this universe is unjust. And she's like, yeah, I'll call it out. So what? What are you going to do?
Still
Run me off
parking the
the
rental
show?
car.
You did that already, and I'm back. Yeah, but she does put up with parking the rental car.
Yeah, that was sad. I was sad for her.
Yeah.
I'm 100% certain they all were like, oh yeah, we'll Venmo you for the rental car. No, they didn't. They didn't Venmo her. They let it all on her. Probably like, it's Lima, Ohio. They came to the Columbus airport. It's probably like a solid $70 and that's on Tina.
So I guess MVPs and LVPs. Elissa, who's your least valuable player?
Literally, no, I'm shocked. Nobody stood out to me for either the MVP or LVP. And I did have to pick based on just like my emotions in that moment. My LVP, I just want to call it Mr. Schuster for Crimes Against Humanity, specifically in this episode, serving a salad and a sad plate of caprese at his dinner party with no indication there was anything else cooking in any capacity. He didn't have like an apron on, indicating he was like roasting some sort of poultry or anything. He just had some caprese drizzled in balsamic and a salad with croutons. Crimes.
You're so right, because he's like, dinner is served, because they're sitting on the couch as dinner is served and they're just eating salad. That's the only thing on the table.
See,
You're so right.
That's an LA dinner party. That is not an Ohio dinner party. That's
true.
what these actors eat. That's not what.
You can go to prison in Ohio for serving caprese and salad at a dinner party.
Yeah, and that salad didn't have nearly enough ranch on it.
No.
And there's no ranch on the table. Like, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, there's no dressing. It was just like Parmesan cheese and croutons on romaine.
You know, they should
Crimes,
have had
LVP.
They should have had the writers, you know how like when like Disney makes like Encanto, right? They like send people to Colombia. They should have sent writers to Ohio to like experience the culture. To go
Culture
to
of
Denny's.
Hidden Valley.
They should have seen, they needed to go to Denny's at like 2 a.m. where there was like a cast party of a high school theater show. The worst people. I can say it because I did it. It was one of my first times at a restaurant without my parents, and I didn't know I needed to tip, and I didn't tip.
Oh no.
This is my confession. I'm always a really good tipper, but one time I didn't tip. I'm sorry. Waitress at Denny's.
I have none of these answers prepared because, again, nothing of value or lack of value stood out to me. But LVP, I'm gonna go with Sue for offering a sex toy to a student.
Ooh, yeah, rough. No.
What do you think, Suki?
She agrees with me in that my LVP is Blaine. Because okay, there's the outfit, there's the fact that he is definitely like in his own little universe and does not empathize at all with this young lady at this school, and like tries to become her white savior and fails miserably because nobody wants that, and it like ends up twisting the entire thing into this little infuriating knot of like manipulation by somehow Rachel and Kurt. Makes no sense. I hated him this episode. I hated everything that he stood for and what was going on in every single part of the story.
Would you perhaps call him a terrorist?
You know, I wouldn't put it past Cullen.
See, I was thinking Blaine, but now is it just all men? Is it all men? Because I'm like, Sam and is Mercedes a virgin thing, and then when Artie's drawing Quinn's boobs, Sam kind of nods like, yeah, like that's a good thing to do. And like Artie's talking about Sugar being hot, he's drawing the boobs. He's a jerk to Kitty. Kurt does literally nothing. Puck's annoying. Yeah, men.
Hashtag all men.
Hashtag all men. Spencer was annoying. Like, all men.
We're at the point in Glee at season 6, I feel like you just named all the things that like that's how Artie is, that's how Sam is. Like they're LVP for just the way they have been.
We're just a reflection of the cast during season 6 when Smith was like, are we really gonna take this shit? And they're like, that's just Leah Michelle.
Well, that's like the thing is, I generally like Sam and Blaine. I think Sam can be very endearing, and so can Blaine. Like Sam said something at the dinner party that was like, aw, like he was like something like very like, yeah, we're all gonna support each other or something very like, but he still also like, I feel like the writers just think men suck, so they make them all suck. And not in like a sassy, like feminist men suck way, in like a, oh, this is what men are like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just
exactly.
fascinating.
It's not that they think that men suck, it's that they think that's the way men are.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between those. Well, it's kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same, but like
men just suck. That's just how they are,
and that's acceptable behavior.
Which is interesting because like they were kind of anti-women a lot in the past.
Well, I think they just think men are a bunch of like dirty, filthy pigs, and women are a bunch of like shrieking harpies.
I mean, I would identify as a shrieking harpy.
Specifically, the one in the Chronicles of Narnia that screams at Aslan as they go to the stone table. Simply that harpy.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. I was in that.
Can
story.
I be the one in The Last Unicorn? She gets to eat a person.
Yes, the one who eats that witch. Yeah.
How many pop culture harpies are there? I want a harpy.
There's multiple in Greek mythology, but those are the only two harpies I can think of in media.
Okay, I'm all the collective Greek mythological harpies.
There's the Jason and the Argonauts movie where the harpies are like stealing their food.
That sounds like me. All right, yeah.
Stealing food. Got it.
I love all those, like, it's like those BuzzFeed quizzes that like every woman is a character from Parks and Rec and a smoothie and a Pixar fandom. Like those like three, it's like every woman is a harpy. There's like three options. So okay, yeah. MVPs. Elissa, who is your MVP?
Again, absolutely nobody stood out to me, so I had to give it to Santana for being hot. I simply am obsessed with her post-graduation midi dress wardrobe they put her in. She has never looked better than she has in season 6. And she is my saving grace in this entire show. Despite being Rachel Berry coded, I have a very serious soft spot for Santana. Also, Mark commentary. I was talking about like all the tragedies that befell the Glee cast, and he was like, oh, "She's the girl I drowned in the lake," and I was like, "Yeah, it was like super horrible." And he's like, "I heard about that on my true crime podcast because there's like conspiracy theories around it." Do you guys know that?
No.
I didn't know it was her.
I figured there would be conspiracies.
Would be, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's also the conspiracy that like Glee is cursed and that like these people befall terrible fates.
Wow.
So
yeah. I'll give it to Santana. I do want to give an honorable mention to all the students in the library who were so dedicated to their studies that they let a man sing full volume for 2 straight days and didn't even notice. Good for them.
Similarly to the Santana point, I'm gonna go with Quinn because for her bleach blonde hair and bob, I loved it. It looked so good.
I was into it.
Yeah. It was like almost. Actually, I think it was better than the pink, although I love the pink because I have a soft spot for it. But the bleach blonde just worked so well for her. Loved it. Also, she was like tan. I was like, oh, that's weird. Like you're in New England or New York or one of the New England, right? Yeah. So it was just like, wow, you're tan. You have the bleach. I love it. Love it.
I'm actually going with Roderick. Because the max high school level angst that he puts out onto the screen is so good. And I identified him very like clearly from the beginning. I was like, this is the antisocial person that I was waiting for who also sings blues because blues is my thing. So yes,
Alyssa feels
this is literally Alyssa. We have to redo the Glee ranking. She is Roderick.
I'm gonna say my MVP is Jane. I think, I like how she's like, why would I work so hard if they don't want me? Like she's a boundary pusher. She's stunning. She's the moment. I do want to give an honorable mention to the interaction. Yes, this is an MVP interaction between Sam and Quinn when he says they had sex with a Latina lesbian, does the leg kick, bumps into her, she cackles. Iconic.
Yeah. It's like a legit Diana Agron cackle. Like actor. That is pretty great.
So let's talk about the music.
Must we?
Okay. So what did we have? We had Tightrope. We had Take on Me. We had Mustang
Problem.
Sally and Problem. Was there anything else?
And Home.
Home. Yeah. No,
What
honestly,
was
not that.
Home?
Home. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
The last
It's like
song.
the last song during the homecoming.
I do love my ma and pa. That song.
Okay,
You're welcome.
I didn't get any like romantic vibes from the twins until they started singing the song, and then I was like,
yeah, okay, that's where I'm like, okay, I see Kitty's point, but before that, I was like, okay, they're just like really close sibling, like that. It seems normal. It seems like they have a very normal relationship. Oh, then you're singing, what is
Not
it?
the way that I do love you.
Yes. Just not great.
Okay, some final notes. We have some Sam and Rachel doing the sketch thing, the mirror, and they're like touching hands or like doing like a. Do you remember? There's a Sam and Rachel moment. Yeah. So there's that should be addressed because that's gonna come up later.
Also,
and
I mean, if anyone was gonna end up watching this episode, there should be a seizure warning. I think it's when Sue like turns on the lights or something.
She's like pushing them and they're like flashing. Yeah,
there's like a flash that like stops like the music number or whatever. Seizure warning, because I was like, oh God, my gosh.
Can I get a reminder on Problem?
That's the cheerleaders being sexy again as adults.
Oh yeah.
And Kitty's like, you peeled yourself back into your cheerleader uniforms.
Stop it, Hannah.
I'm being like boyfriend, which I think I need to retake that quiz because fuck.
There's another observation. Oh yeah, because Sue says the dance is canceled because of Sharia law, but she's like, because of Sharia law. Let's just say that. A lot of Islamophobia. Okay. Elissa, least favorite song.
Home, because they butcher it. And I'm gonna say specifically Kurt butchers it because Rachel does the first line. I like that song, like as a college indie kid, like that was my favorite songs in college. And Kurt, it's not his range, and like the fact that they made an ensemble number. And another callback, season 2, episode 13, they ended, if you recall, with "Sing" by My Chemical Romance, which they also butchered like so bad.
I love the Sing.
I know you loved it, Cullen. It wasn't good. And I felt the same way about Home.
Yeah,
you just butchered it.
I second that. Like listening to the original version of that song is like it's a different experience, but listening to all these different people singing it feels not just cacophonous, but also it feels weird, especially like the twins singing that one line. It's just like they're adding weird context to it that it's just like that song doesn't deserve it. It's a good song.
Yeah.
They're shoving
and they cut out the interlude. Where they like I fell out the window and nearly broke your ass. Like they cut out that whole part, which is like iconic to the song Home.
Yes.
Like Glee can't do it. It wouldn't make any sense.
It's probably in the iTunes original, but they're like, this isn't gonna fit in the show. It doesn't make sense. It's like
the iTunes
original. You don't make sense.
I won't address that.
They're just shoving so much story into the
iTunes
number.
Cover.
I've
had 4 glasses of wine. I'm finishing this bottle.
All right. Alyssa, do you know what your least favorite song was?
Yes, I'm going with "Take Me Home" because that's what it's called, right?
Take on me.
Take on me.
Yeah. Take me home tonight.
Different episode song titles together here. Sorry about that. Yeah, take me on.
Yeah, I mean that's a lyric in the song. Take on me. It is a weird. It's a weird title.
I'm so sorry. Anyway,
that's sake kicking it.
Listen, I only had the one bottle, and it's good stuff.
And to be clear about bottle, it's not like a bottle of wine like I just drank. It's a smaller,
smaller than
like
a bottle of
jar.
Beer.
Yeah,
smaller than a bottle of beer.
An olive
but
jar.
sake is pretty strong.
It is. Well, I mean, it's only 13.5%. Yeah. Take on me because the stupid animation, it was just bad, and I felt like personally slighted by this half-assed sort of thing. And I'm sorry if whoever worked on that tried really hard, but you didn't have a high enough budget.
They didn't.
I'm going with problem because that song on paper is like a song that yes, Glee should cover, but
Right.
the context to the performance, the everything, no, it wasn't. It
This
wasn't.
would have been a great. Rachel just broke up with Finn. Someone else broke up with someone else, and the girls get together and like, we're gonna talk about how we just broke up with these guys because one less problem without you. Boom. That's how you do context, Glee. Done.
They tried. And failed.
Elissa, favorite song.
I had to pick Tightrope, but like it was no Janelle. Janelle's still legendary, and I do want to take this opportunity to tell everybody to listen to, if you haven't yet, Dance Apocalyptic by Janelle Monáe.
So
I just heard that song for the first time at my best friend's wedding. She got married like 2 months ago, and she danced by herself. She requested the song, like put it on, and it was just, the vibes were so high, and it has been on my most played ever since then. So Tightrope was good, but I recommend Dance Apocalyptic by Janelle Monáe if you want some real vibes. None of these songs were particularly good to me.
Yeah, I agree. Tightrope, because it had the most stakes, and also it was the most fun to watch because it seems like this person, like this new character, was having a lot of fun. Like the actor, like on screen, it looks like a lot of fun. And that happens for Warblers numbers. So yeah, Take On Me. I wanted to say that because I like the song, like it's catchy, but wasn't into it.
Alyssa?
I am going with big surprise Mustang Sally, which is very much in the blues vibe. I have been waiting so long, you guys.
Yes.
So
the long game.
long for Glee to do any type of music that I'm actually into.
You're gonna really like
Roderick. Type of
Roderick.
music. Yeah, I'm so excited. His voice is like the type of music that I listen to all the time. I'm excited for Roderick.
I love a flashy 80s outfit and a fun 80s bop, and weird unexplained sexual tension. Take On Me.
Oh man.
Hot take.
That I actually really like that cover. It's on my I'm writing fan fiction playlist. It's great.
I mean, it's also in possibly your top 30 Glee covers, and I was like, how do you have 30?
I don't know. Like, I'm just guessing off the top of my head. Like,
right.
Maybe that's we'll do that at the end of the pod. Rank each Glee song. No, I can't.
No.
Oh my God.
No. Just listen to Gleek of the Week if you want to rank the songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to them, fellow podcasters.
Yeah, that is season 2. Season 6.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Oh my God.
Season
It's
6.
actually Hannah's personal hell. Back up season 2, it's gonna keep going.
Season 6, episode 2, Homecoming. Elissa, thank you so much for joining us. It's so much fun to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here.
Claps for you too.
Yeah.
I was clapping for myself. Thank you.
No, like I was putting together like, okay, I want to have a lot of people like come back for the final season. I was like, we gotta have Alyssa come back.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
Fan favorite.
Rachel Barricoded.
Rachel Barricoded.
I humbly
fan
accept
favorite.
this applause.
Gleeboot correspondent Elissa. Yeah. So where can we find you on social media? Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah. So last time I didn't plug myself, but I took a break from Instagram for a whole year and I just reactivated it. So now I'm going to take this opportunity to, you should follow me on Instagram at ELISSA10NANT. It's at Alyssa Tennant. It's cute. Because I will probably deactivate in like 2 weeks from one of this airs because I hate Instagram still. So get it while you can. And also
Get
watch
that
the Mike's
content.
Mike Pretty Little Liars recap. So you too can start unironically calling yourself a girl boss.
yes.
All the time.
I've really channeled his energy. Like he is the moment when it comes to lingo.
You can follow us on Gleeboot. We are at Gleeboot Pod on Instagram, Twitter. We don't use it. TikTok. We do some stuff there. Tumblr, gleebootpod.tumblr.com. Haven't seen her in a while, but you know what? The app is still on my phone.
I update Instagram pretty regularly.
Yeah, Instagram is where to go. Like
that's where the merch drop is going to be, is on Instagram.
I mean,
Potentially. We're gonna be sending out some questions. My Instagram is now private, but you can follow me at Cullen Ever After. I will probably accept you if you don't look like someone who's going to steal me or my husband's pictures and put them on Grindr. So
Gross. Gross. You can follow me on Instagram at a.m.swearingen. Hopefully I will be posting some more art, and I've been thinking about posting some other like health stuff, which might be cool. Not sure about that.
And
also about anything.
And if Elissa does health stuff, it will be very like, I'm doing this for like literal health reasons, not like the fake wellness beauty.
Wellness.
Like,
No.
Yeah.
Wellness queen. No, it's literally healthy.
No vagina scented candles or
Oh
jade
my
eggs to show up your
God.
vagina.
Yeah. Also, just like another PSA, don't put stuff up your vagina that shouldn't be there. I'm sorry. Just
Whether it's meat
use
Put that on the merch.
sex toys. Say sex toys, no jade eggs. Just like be cognizant of that
and
stuff.
don't accept fleshlights from your teachers.
And that's
This merch
podcast.
is writing itself. That's another t-shirt.
All right. All right. So, Elissa, thank you so much for coming on. Tune in next week. We are talking about the Jagged Little Tapestry.
Oh.
Yeah,
I know Quinn is in it because I saw her in the still on Disney Plus. And I was like, well, this has just been spoiled for me. So I spoiled it for everyone else.
We will have I think we'll have a new guest and a returning guest.
Ooh, switching it up, unlike Glee. But you know what? Glee actually has switched things up. They
This
created
season.
2 original characters.
Well,
Technically
5.
4. Technically 5.
Spencer.
Oh, Spencer. I was thinking again of the twins too. Again, I don't know their name. And you know what? Maybe I will spend this entire time, the rest of the podcast, not learning their names. I'll call them Flowers in the Attic people.
All right. Tune in next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Gleeboot.